could accomplish much winner lost.
For 5 luxurious days. All right. Now that is that. Okay. Now the spreadsheet. Okay, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you're going to read all the CFTC risk disclosure stuff down at the bottom. Okay, you read all that stuff down at the bottom. Today is 8:28. We made 17 ticks on the euro today, and that was it. That's 106.25. We went back and forth with crude a little bit. We had 2 break-evens on crude, and then we had a +8 and a -8 on crude to get back to break-even. Today it took 47 minutes and 5 trades to get to 106.25, and we took a total of 7 trades. All right, so on the month now, we're at $2,818. That's over 20 days, averaging 140 per day. 140 per day. On the year, we're at 24,353. That's over 161 days, averaging 151 per day. 151 per day. Okay. Now let's go and see what we actually did. All right. Gold. I don't know what happened to gold today. There was a period right here, right before 11 o'clock, where gold just shot up, and it kept going. We didn't have anything on gold that we could do this morning. It was just really choppy and sideways consolidating, and then it shot up, and it didn't give us a trade opportunity in this leg up here. And then when it finally did over here, right in there was a trade opportunity, it looks like, but I missed it. And it was just, I don't know why I missed this right here. There was another one right here that I missed for some reason. I think it was 11 o'clock, and I was sending out the 1 traded days for the passwords. All right, and I missed that one, and that was it. During the break, gold was really flat. There really wasn't anything you could do with it during the break. Okay. Now the euro went up with the gold at that 11 o'clock point, right in here. I don't know why they went up like that, but they did, and that's all that matters. On the euro, this first one right here, we caught 3 ticks profit. All right, the next one right here, we had 7 ticks profit, and the last one over here, we had 7 more ticks profit. Okay, that puts us at +17 on the euro. During the break, there was, I wouldn't have done anything with the cycle flat in the middle like this. So there was nothing there and nothing here either. So there was nothing during the break. Now we didn't have any news events. We didn't have any news events to speak of today. All right, let's see. It's this one. Was this today? Yeah, this was today. We had goods trade balance, came in pretty close to expectations, and preliminary wholesale inventories came in a little worse than expected. Both of those are low impact. Tomorrow we have a little bit coming in. CB consumer confidence is a high impact. And Wednesday we have some news. But the big news day this week is going to be Friday. On Friday we have all this stuff right here. Non-farm employment change, that's a big one. Unemployment rate. Those are all big ones. And that's all pre-market on Friday. Okay. Move that back over here. And we'll get back into this. So we just did the euro. And on the crude, like I said, we had 2 break-evens there and there. I missed this one right here. And this big drop down right here, we had a break-even on it from right here. And then it went down and we got in this second leg right here. We got 8 ticks profit on that second leg. And then it kept going and it kept going. But the cycle was not giving us a short trade setup. Okay. Over here we had a bounce and we thought we were going to go long right there. We did go long. And it stopped us out, -8 ticks. And it kept going down. Now this doesn't make any sense to me at all with all the stuff that's going on with the hurricane. Why is crude going down? Do you think it'd be going up? Anyway, soybeans. We were looking for a soybean trade here, but it went choppy sideways here for a while. Then it finally gave a lower swing, but then it started printing dynamic support, so we could not take this. Then This was the low of the day, so we could not take this. And then it changed directions, and it just went up. So there was nothing there on the beans. On the ES, I don't think, oh yeah, there was just one opportunity right here on the ES. And depending where you got in, you may have gotten a break even here, or you may have gotten some profit here, or you may have stopped out right here. Okay, it just depends where you got in. If you got in right here at 42.75, then it pulled back up here. Shouldn't have stopped you out right here. Should have gone to break even. If you didn't and you let it ride, then you got some profit down here. But that was the only opportunity there today on the ES, and then it wasn't trending. Okay, so I think Dwayne's got everything all set up over there again. But all right, sorry, got distracted. All right, so here's the spreadsheet. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosure stuff down at the bottom. Today we made 17 ticks on the euro. Okay, that's 106.25 gross. Took us 47 minutes and 5 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're at 106.25, and we took a total of 7 trade opportunities. So on the month now, we're at 2,818. That's with 1 contract, 2 hours per day. That's over 20 days, averaging 140 per day. Okay, on the year at 24,353. That's over 161 days, averaging 151 per day. Okay, 151 per day. Now, if you have not taken our free trial, go to the home page here at cfrn.net. This banner is going to drop down here in the top, up there in the top, where it says sign up for the CFRN live training room. 100% free trial. User indicators, learn our strategy. Click here. When you click there, it brings you to this page. And all you got to do is put in your email, put in your phone, your first name, and hit submit. We're going to add one more thing to this. We're going to add, where did you hear of us on there? Okay, and we're going to make it mandatory. So you tell us that. You hit submit, and once you hit submit, you'll be sent a confirmation link. Okay, so you can click on that confirmation link, and well, once you do click on that confirmation link, we then know that you took the free trial. Okay, at that point. Before then, we don't know that you took the trial. It's once you hit that confirmation link that we know you took the trial. And then we'll send you all the information you need to get into the live training room for 5 luxurious days. Okay? All right. Dwayne, with that, if you are available, I can pass everything back out to you in the studio. Buddy, I just hear garbles. Just garbles.
God sees everything.
Hang on.
God sees all injustice.
Okay. Now I hear.
Crosses, pain, and suffering.
Okay. I'm guessing Dwayne is not ready. Yeah, but the streaming audio is what's playing right now.
What you need, brother?
There you go. There you go. You're in.
No, I'm
okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm ready to pass it back to Studio A.
Recap of the recap.
Today, 47 minutes, 5 trades, 142.50. Hey, wait a minute. Wait 1 minute.
Did you say 47 minutes?
47 minutes, yeah.
Okay. 5 trades
today. Yeah, it was 142.50. Oh wait, that's not right. Hang on, this is 106.50 is the total.
You see, guys, this is raw radio. There's no fancy pants scripting and high dollar production. This is as real and as raw as it gets.
Yes. No, I gotta fix this. Copy.
Michael P says the dollar dropped at 10.55. I'm assuming that's Eastern, from 92.38 down to 92.25. Wow, that's quite a drop.
Okay, that is correct.
Okay, so the 142.50 is correct, or the
142.50 is correct. Yeah, remember I had 98.50 or
Right.
something like that,
okay?
and then I thought I had gotten it in 45 minutes in 3 trades or 4 trades, and I did the math and I was at 98.50, so I hadn't gotten the goal for the day. But then the next trade I got 7 ticks on the euro, and that put us up at 142.50.
Okay. All right, guys, now let me put this in perspective, and then we're going to properly start the show. But anyway, the perspective I want to put it in is that in the live training room, because while we have people in there that have been hanging out with us for years, we're in our 2nd decade. We first went live in 2005, April of 2005. But we also have people who are brand spanking new to Emini Futures, and some people are even brand spanking new to trading, period. They've never traded, never had any kind of training. And so we learned early on that it was dangerous for us to parade around with, 5 or 10 contracts or whatever the case might be, because new students are going to follow the teacher. I mean, it just seems like the right way to do it. However, as a brand new trader, you're not psychologically prepared. You may know how to move the mouse and click on the DOM and all that kind of stuff, but you're not yet mature enough psychologically to deal with the dollar amount of having a multi-point drawdown on 20 contracts. Okay, so for that reason, we decided that we would only trade 1 contract in the live training room, because the way our mentoring program works is, first you have to go through a testing period in the simulator and prove that you understand the strategy, that you understand all the mechanics of the DOM and how to place the orders and manage your risk. And we have to make sure you're ready to go. Why? Because we care about you. That's why. And so once you've proven, passed the test, you go live with, guess what? How many? 1 contract. And then if you have a couple great days, do we jump up to 2? No. We want you to increase your account balance by $2,000 before you add a 2nd contract. After that, we go on a calendar-based method, and so you'll know on exactly what day you're going to add number 3 and number 4 and number 5. Okay. Now, everybody's different. People learn at different speeds. Some people have more confidence than others. Some people have more experience than others. So how long does it take the average trader to go live with 1? We don't even think about that. How long before they get to add their 2nd contract? We don't think about that either. Now, the daily goal is $100 per contract. In the live training room, because we have a 2-hour window to work with, Michael trades the entire 2 hours. But we had someone this morning who got their goal early on. Was it before you or after you, Michael, when you told him that because he was brand new, he could keep practicing, but he had to consider that his day was over at that point because he hit his goal?
Before me, actually.
It was before you. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. So anyway, after 2 weeks, our strategy is so simple, and the platform and our indicators are so simple. It looks complicated because you're looking at 5 charts right now, but trust me, it is simple. So anyway, once you've practiced, the entire trading day for a couple weeks, you're now ready to get into that groove of you reach your daily goal, take the money, put the mouse away, and go do life. God created us for something more than staring at screens all day. Now, I know that when you're new and it's all so exciting and the apple's so shiny that you want to live, eat, and breathe the markets. However, if you do that, you're going to end up running into what we call negative screen time. And I won't go into a full-blown explanation of that right here, right now, but it's not a good thing. And it can cause you to have it can cause you to your definable edge, which is what we teach you. You can dull that thing real quick. Okay, financial wounds in the markets, you can heal those if you have good health. Just go make some more money. But psychological wounds, those can sometimes be hard to overcome. And so what we try to do is we try to be so aggressive with our risk management that you don't, you know, you ever heard somebody say, oh God, I wish I hadn't seen that because I can never unsee it, right? You can't unring a bell. You can't put toothpaste back in a tube, all that stuff. So if you don't go through that pain, if the dog never bites you, all of you who've read Mark Douglas's book know what I'm talking about with the dog biting you. See, we try to keep the dog from ever biting you. Now, I'm not saying that you can't blow up your account with our methodology, but I'm going to say that you'll have to work really hard and you'll have to break every rule in the book to blow up your account. Because what we've designed is a methodology, the 24/20 blueprint. If you do not reach your daily goal in 10 trades or less, 2 days back to back once you go live, then you go into Sim and we get together, we have a private mentoring session, we dissect your trades, we figure out what happened, we get you back on track, you spend a couple days regaining your confidence, and then you step right back out where you left off. If you were at 5 contracts, you go back to 5 once you've regained your confidence and we fix whatever went haywire. Okay, so we're not going to let you just bleed out on the trading floor. As long as you're honest with us, like when we say, how are you doing, are you okay, are you getting your points every day, as long as you're honest, things will go well for you. But I know that sometimes people, especially when it comes to money and things of that nature, if a person is not doing well, they have a difficult time telling their teacher or mentor, man, I really suck at this. You know, but if that's the case, the sooner you say it, the sooner we can stop the bleeding, and the sooner we can get you healthy and get you on track. So, brutal honesty. We're not here to judge you. We're here to help you. That's what you paid us to do. You didn't pay us to wave some kind of fairy magic wand and say some kind of incantation, abracadabra, and turn you into a trader. No. This is like boot camp, man. We're going to be all up in your face. We're going to be yelling. We won't use any obscenities, but a little spittle might, you know, get on your forehead. I don't know. Are you guys following me? Are you tracking with me? And partners, listen to me, partners. And if you're not a partner, if you're just tuned into the radio show or maybe you're on the trial, I want you to send me an email, support@cfrn.net. And I want you to tell me what you need, okay? If you are not consistently profitable, if you are not reaching your daily goal on a daily basis, and in fact, that might be a foreign concept to you, daily goal, daily basis, I don't know, what does he even mean by that? Then you need a personal mentoring session. And when you take our trial, not only do you get 5 days in the live training room, 2 hours a day, 5 consecutive days, you also get one 45-minute personal one-on-one mentoring session. Then after you become a partner, you have unlimited access to both Michael and I as often as you need us. Brand new partners sometimes will come to me twice a week, then it falls off to once a week, and then once every 2 weeks, and you know, when you need us, we're here. Now, I had a mentoring session with a guy not too long ago who told me that he signed up with a particular place, and we make it a point, we don't call names of other companies, we're not here to put anybody down, but he went with them because they promised personal mentoring. And the guy was very kind to him as they were getting him signed up for a pretty high dollar amount. Well, lo and behold, as soon as the check clears the bank, so to speak, his personal mentor got fired. And he goes, well, you're going to replace him. You're going to give me a different mentor, right? And they're like, nah, man, sorry, the dude, you know, he's gone, and, you know, everybody else is booked. And he's like, I just paid you X, dollars, you know, really? So then he came to us, and I think it was probably our third mentoring session, and he said, you know, let me tell you a story. And he told me the story I just told you, and he goes, you guys actually do unlimited mentoring sessions? And I go, yeah, we actually do. We actually do everything we say we do. If we don't do it, we don't say we do it. Why? Well, because, you know, in this industry, a lot of people cheat. A lot of people take shortcuts. A lot of people disappear in the middle of the night. We decided we didn't want to be everybody else. We wanted to be unique. We wanted to stand out. We wanted to stand up. We wanted to be that bright light in a dark alley. Okay? Now, I know that sounds like a bunch of grandstanding, patting myself on the back. I'm probably going to throw my shoulder out of joint, but I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you that we work our behinds off to give you guys as much help as we possibly can. Now, we can teach you how to trade. We can give you the knowledge, and we can give you the tools, but we can't make you a trader. I can teach you how to play baseball, but you may never play for the Mets, okay? It's what you do with what we give you and teach you. That's what determines how you grow your trading business. And that's how we look at this. We look at it as a business, okay? And the more you treat it like a business, the more it will behave like a business, and the more business-like results you're going to get from it. So, I mean, we start you out in the very beginning, writing your business plan, writing your trading plan. Those are two very different things. We send you to see your accountant to find out if you need to go down and get an LLC, or if you're going to go S Corp, you're going to go sole proprietorship. I mean, we take this serious, okay? And we're looking for people who also want to take it serious. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop that there. Compliment Michael on doing a great job this morning in the live training room. Now, had he been trading 10 contracts, okay, that $1,442 would have been $14,000.
No, $1,400. $1,400.
I'm sorry, $1,400. I barely got out of high school, but anyway. And so, if you can make 2 points in the S&P as a 10 contract trader, that's $1,000 a day. I mean, you know, you're not going to become a billionaire unless you live to be 900 years old, but you're going to earn a good living. Our blueprint, the 2420 blueprint, is designed to help you go from 1 contract to 20 contracts over a period of 24 months. Some people get real comfortable at 5, and they don't want the stress of more money on the line. They're just kind of in the groove, right? And they might stay there for 6 months and then decide to add some more contracts. And that's okay. You can do that. You don't have to increase every time the blueprint says increase. Now, people always ask, well, how long does it take to get to 10? I can't answer that. It depends on you. I will tell you this. It is entirely possible and reasonable to be at 4 contracts in 6 months. Well, that doesn't sound like a lot. Well, let me break it down. if you're trading 4 contracts and your goal, which never changes, is $100 per contract per day, instead of making 100 a day, you're now making 400 a day. Okay, that's before commissions. On a 5-day week, that's $2,000 before commissions, before taxes, etc. All right, that's a pretty good gross to be 6 months on the job. I'm not telling you that's what you're going to make in 6 months, but because you got to pass the test to go live, you got to increase the balance by $2,000 before you can get on the calendar-based methodology. I'm just saying it's very feasible that a person could be at 4 contracts in 6 months. If it takes you 12, well, it takes you 12. Okay? The average doctor in America makes less than $200,000. Not every doctor is a plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills. If you take 2 points a day out of the S&P or 20 points out of the Dow on 10 contracts, that's $250,000 a year. That's not bad money, quite frankly. But again, you know, we can't, the only thing we can guarantee you is that we'll work as hard as we possibly can to help you become the best trader that you can possibly be. You know, we give you knowledge, we bring you tools, indicators, strategy, but you got to bring self-discipline. You've got to learn how to think in probabilities, which will help you with, but you have to accept it. You have to develop a tremendous amount of patience, and you gotta be willing to heed the advice that we give you. Oftentimes I have a mentoring session with someone and I give them advice on fixing what's broken, and a month later or 2 months later we're having the same conversation, and it's like, well, okay, they say, well, that's the same thing you told me last time. And I go, well, that's because that's the answer to the problem. Did you implement what I advised you to do? And they oftentimes go, quite often go, well, no, not really. Well, what did you do? Well, I just, you know, kept doing the same thing. Einstein said a long time ago that if you attempt to get different results doing the same thing, that would be the definition of insanity. So don't be insane, okay? That's not cool. All right. So Michael had a great day.
Yes, I still have the charts too.
You still have the charts. I'm gonna I gotta do a couple clickety clacks over here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
A man gotta do his clickety clacks. I haven't had a chance to set up my charts and make them look all pretty. Oh, yeah. All right, I guess I'll have to do it while we're opening. Mike, I'll shout at you later.
Okay. All right.
You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Bork. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Well, good afternoon. It sure is Monday. We had quite a bumpy start to the start of this radio show, but you hung in there, and I thank you. Hey, if you're returning, welcome back. And if you're brand new, well, a very special welcome to you. We're so glad you're with us today. And to those of you that do return every day, you know, some of you have been inviting us into your home, into your office, into your life since 2005. I do not take that lightly. Honest to goodness. I mean, we're doing some things with the orphanage in Kampala, and I had to send a letter to a guy, and we broke ground in 2000. We met Chris and his wife Agnes, who are Africans. They grew up under the reign of Idi Amin. We met them in 1999, or met Chris, and it was in 2000 that we bought the first piece of land and broke ground. And I was like, no, wait a minute, that can't be right. It's 2017. It hadn't dawned on me that it's been 17 years. We've graduated from like first grade to high school. I don't know, a lot of kids. It's about 600 and change living there now and going to school. So 17 years ago, 18, that my wife and I looked at each other and said, let's do it. And we did it. So we didn't have the money, we didn't have the education. All we had was God's hand at our back, pushing us forward. That's it. And the amazing thing is, because it was God and not us, doors flew open we didn't even know existed. I mean, it's just been, and now we got something about to happen that's like, whoa, it's going to blow your mind. But I'll tell you about it once it gets started. Then it also, something else that I had to write in this letter, my phone number. I've had the same phone number since 1996. Now, my grandparents, they had the same phone number and phone for like 40 years, one of those big black heavy things with the rotary dial. But that was not uncommon back then. Now people change phones and phone numbers like they change their undershirt. And I've gone through a few phones since I got that number, but I've still got. Now to me, because I know who I was and who I became, the fact that I've kept a telephone number for like 20 years is a sign of stability. I may have actually grown up, or at least I'm growing up. I may not be grown yet, but I'm working on it. I'm doing my best, you know. Every night when you go in the bathroom to brush your teeth before you go to bed, if you can look yourself in the mirror, no matter what happened that day, you know, good, bad, indifferent, if you know in your heart that you did your very best in every situation, you can feel good about who you are, and not only who you are, but the reflection that other people see in you, and that reflection is Jesus. I mean, for some people, the only Jesus they'll ever see is the Jesus they see in you. Did you ever think about that? And what do your kids really think about you? Because they see you behind closed doors. You know, not when you're being the elder at the church and sitting on the board. They know what you're really like. When you stub your toe or a check bounces or whatever. And your wife, I mean, that's behind closed doors, behind another set of closed doors. You've been married 38 years. You're not going to pull anything over on her. Let me just tell you. And I guess it works the other way for you ladies on him. Unless you have no intimacy in your relationship. And if you don't, the solution is not one of those couples retreat weekends where you do some kind of weird touchy-feely stuff and write poems. It's when you both get down on your knees in front of God and cry out, and He comes and heals and restores your marriage. And maybe you don't get along with the kids. Maybe, you know, maybe you need to do that with them. Maybe you need to get on your knees with your kids, cry out to God and ask Him to come and heal and restore the broken relationship, if there is one. So that's a freebie. I wasn't planning to open up with that, but I can't put that toothpaste back in the tube. Okay, last night on the Concierge Alerts, I'll just throw this out real quick while I got it up. It wasn't that big a deal, really. On the S&P, we said to consider buying 24.46. Now, those of you that have been around go, well, that's mighty close to a weekly trading zone. You don't normally do that, Mr. Reeves. You're right. But these are last week's zones. Okay. Now, last week, I showed everybody the zones for the week. The whole week. But that's really a partner privilege. And so, this week, on Thursday, I will show them to the community at large, as I do each week. So let me write last week's zones. Now, this does give me an opportunity to point out the carryover effect of the zones. $24.46 overshot the zone, put in a high up at 24.49 and a quarter, so that's 3.25. Now we never get out at the swing high or swing low. Why? Because we trail our stop. And when you trail your stop, that means you're going to almost always leave a little something on the table. And if you figure out a way not to do that, I will give you dead presidents to teach me. Okay? On the sell side, it was 24.40 if you got the opportunity. And by golly, we did. 24.40 right there. And where did we go? Right down to last week's zone at 37/38. Now, I will tell you this, just because it's cool. Last week, we had a zone that repeated from the week before. 37.38 repeated this week. It was a zone last week. It's a zone this week. I can't tell you the other zones till Thursday, but unless you're a partner, if you're a partner, you got the zones this morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern in your inbox. And then you had time to get them on your charts before Wall Street even woke up. Okay? Now. And I will say that this high came just a little shy of hitting the zone, the new zone overhead. But that's it. What did that guy used to say on MASH? If I told you, I'd have to kill you. Okay, I don't want to kill anybody, so let's move on. Let's do radio. What do you say? What do you say? By the way, guys, this radio program since 2005, well, we started out as simply a Christian talk radio station, the Christian Financial Radio Network, where we, of course, it was a Christian talk radio station, but we talked about finances and the markets and different companies, and I interviewed CEOs, people like Patrick Byrne from Overstock.com, Max Lucado, a lot of different people. And we realized over time that what people really wanted, is they wanted us to teach them how to trade. So I won't go into the whole story of how the educational arm developed, but I will say that when that happened, we went totally E-mini. We turned our back on stocks because naked short selling was so rampant. Okay, Mark Cuban did make $3 billion selling that thing that didn't work to Yahoo. Yahoo got took to the cleaners on that deal. But then he took his $3 billion and he parlayed it into a much larger fortune by naked short selling. Now, according to the law, if you sell short naked, you have 3 days to cover. But if you have a certain kind of broker who turns his head, wink wink, and doesn't force you to cover in 3 days, well, that's like free money, because you and your buddies can short that company to zero, and then you never have to cover because there's nothing to cover. Get it? You can pyramid a pile of cash pretty quick. So myself and Mark Falk and Rod Taylor and a bunch of other guys, Rod Young, a bunch of other guys, the Dirty Dozen, we banded together, and some of our guys testified before Congress, and Mark and I were on the radio every day, calling the SEC, calling the DTTC, talking to Bud Burrell, and oh my gosh. Anyway, what I'm getting around to is I left the world of equities to get into Emini Futures. And I'm so glad I did. Emini Futures is different in a number of ways. Somebody emailed me the other day and said, would you please tell me in your own words why you prefer futures over stocks? Well, if you're going to be the type of person that enters a position and closes a position in the same day on a regular basis, then you're considered a pattern day trader, and you have to maintain a minimum $25,000 account balance, which, you know, if you don't have that, you probably shouldn't be trading anyway. But just having money sitting there that's not being used, that's kind of ridiculous. Then there is the tax advantages. You'll have to check with your accountant. I can't give you tax advice, but you can look it up yourself on the internet. If you buy an S&P 500 E-mini futures contract and hold it for 60 seconds and then sell it, if you made any money on that transaction, 60% is considered short-term capital gains and 40% is considered long-term capital gains, which is kind of a sweet deal in and of itself. Also, at the end of the year, you get a little piece of paper from your broker. It's got a number on it. It's either positive or negative, and that's what you report to the government. You don't have to keep track of all these individual trades and, you know, watch out for the wash rule and all this other stuff. So, I mean, it's an 100% electronic market. There's no middleman. There's no market maker. There's no pump and dump. There's none of the stuff that you have to deal with in equities. Manipulation of the S&P 500 is practically an impossibility. Now, any one of those individual companies can be manipulated if enough people with enough cash gang up on it. Ask Patrick. But to manipulate an entire index, yeah, good luck with that. Now, has gold been manipulated? Yes. Silver? Yes. And that story is way too long to try to tell on this radio program today, so I won't go into it. But you can Google that fact up too and find out for yourself. Okay? Now, I said all that to say this. We're going to go back into stocks. Actually, we're going to do a couple things. Now, we're not going to be trading stocks in the live training room in the morning. There's going to be a newsletter, and there's going to be some, well, you'll see. You'll see as it unfolds what it's going to be, okay? Because it's still in the design stages. So for those of you who are CFRN partners and come to the live training room every day, what I'm doing in the world of equities won't affect you not one bit, not one iota. You never even know. If I hadn't told you just now, you'd never know. But I'm telling you now because when you see my name attached to something else out there, you know, I've always told you, Michael and I both have told you that you might not always like what we tell you, but that we would always tell you the truth. Okay? So I'm just telling you ahead of time before you hear it somewhere else. We're also going to do something else, and you know I've had an interest in Bitcoin for a while, since $2, but after much study and research, and actually buying a little Bitcoin and buying a little Ether and getting a basic rudimentary understanding of how these wallets work, the Bitcoin wallet, the Ethereum wallet, I'm still not there yet, okay? I've got to read the white paper about 12 more times and it'll all sink in. Now, Bitcoin ran hard and fast very quickly once it got going. Goldman Sachs thinks it's going to top out around $5,000 and pull back to about $2,200. I'm not making any predictions, but there are an awful lot of other alternative coins. Some will make it, some won't make it. They're kind of like penny stocks in a way, a lot of these coins. I think that's what you'll hear them referred to by different commentators. We'll see. But this thing is so new, and so while I'm not trying to, you know, prophesy, you know, who's going to win, Sony or Betamax, it is the technology behind the cryptocurrencies. That's what has me intrigued. The blockchain technology and the distributed ledger technology. it's here to stay. Let me just tell you, the CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, they now have a Bitcoin index. There's no volume in it yet. Most people don't even know it exists. I looked up the symbol earlier today, and Michael tried to pull it up. Let me see what it is real quick. CME Bitcoin Index. Okay. Computer a little sluggish today because I've got some new software running in the background, so that I will be able to help you get educated on this whole thing. Let me find the symbol. Okay. Now live, the Bitcoin reference rate and real-time index successfully launched way back in November of last year. As of 9 a.m. London time on April 20th, 2017, okcoin.com, symbol is HK. Is that the... Well, let me just go on. Will be removed from the list of constituent exchanges for the BRR and BRTI. This is due to US dollar wire transfers currently being restricted. okcom.com, oh, I think it's in Hong Kong, will be re-added once BRR and BRTI constituent exchange criteria are satisfied. As of 9 a.m. London time, April 18th, 2017, Bitfinex will be removed from the list of constituent exchanges. This again has to do with daily US dollar outbound wires, etc. The CME CF Bitcoin reference rate, which is, the symbol is BRR, and then also the CME Bitcoin Real-Time Index on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is BRTI. You might want to write those down. It's a standardized reference rate and spot price index with independent oversight. These are accelerating the professionalization of Bitcoin trading and further establishing digital assets as a new asset class. BRR and BRTI launched November 14, 2016 in the production environment on simple binary encoding. That's the SBE market data feed. Several Bitcoin exchanges and trading platforms will provide pricing data, including Bitstamp, GDAX, Itbit, and Kraken. Okay. Now, the current price of Bitcoin is $4,313.46. That's the reference rate. The real-time index price is $43.2246. Okay. Now, I'm telling you all of that because each day on the show, you know, as we go through the numbers for the different markets, we will be talking about what's happening not in the world of Bitcoin, okay? Not in the world of Ethereum, although those topics will come up. We will be speaking and interviewing people in general about the cryptocurrencies. Because for all I know, Bitcoin won't be here in 5 years, but cryptocurrencies will be here. Blockchain technology will be here, and distributed ledger technology will still be here. Now, imagine it's the late 1800s and somebody yells, "There's gold in them there hills," and a bunch of people head off. You know, the miners. You've read the stories. You've watched the you've watched the cowboy movies and all that stuff, right? It was my dad's. My dad couldn't get any happier than a Saturday afternoon on the couch with my stepmother watching old westerns, shoot 'em ups they were called, and knowing that that night he was going to go out dancing at the Moose Club and have a couple of adult beverages with my stepmom. So that was the high life for him. What a great man. He worked so hard, never got rich, never really made a name for himself, but man, I'm so proud of him. He was my dad, you know. I hope my son will feel about me that way someday. I don't know. So on YouTube, and when you see this the following headline, you'll know that's us. Currently, if you Google, I'll show you. I'll just show you on the big screen. When you Google Emini, actually, I should do it. I know I've explained this to you guys before, and for most people it doesn't matter, but if you want a clean Google that's not influenced by previous searches that you've made, in other words, it's like a brand new computer straight out of the box, on your Chrome browser, just go to New Incognito Window. Then it's not influenced by, because if you go to a certain site all the time and then you search something about that topic, it's going to most definitely bring that up on page 1. All right? Okay. Fun fact to know and tell. Emini Daily News. And that would be us. 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 That would be us. That would not be us. We end up on bar chart, and we end up on Inside Futures, and S&P 500 E-mini Gambler, Trade Emini Futures, apply.cfrn.net/stop/gambling. Our 24/20 blueprint can take you from 1 to 20 contracts in 24 months. Free trial. Use our indicators. Free. No credit card required. Free 5-day trial. Watch us trade live. Training videos. Now that's an ad. See how it says ad? Up at the top, there are no ads. Okay? Moving forward, it's going to say Emini. When I title the radio show on the various places, from iTunes to YouTube to wherever, it's going to be Emini and cryptocurrency daily news. And then each day it will have the date. But you don't need that, because if you just type in Emini Daily News, it'll still come up. Okay? But when you start seeing cryptocurrency affiliated with their site, I don't want you to think, oh man, those guys aren't going to do Emini Futures anymore. You know? I became a partner, you know, because I want to trade Emini Futures. Like I said, the newsletter thing we're doing with stocks, and the thing we're doing with cryptocurrencies, we're doing it. The stocks is a separate issue. The cryptocurrency is because I truly believe. Now I'm going to give full disclosure. I own $500 worth of Bitcoin, and I own $500 worth of Ethereum. That's it. Okay. You all know my #1 stock pick for 2017. It's a gold stock. If If you haven't read the research report on that stock, email me gold@cfrn.net. I'll send you the full 150-page report so that you can do your own due diligence. Okay, I don't sit here on the radio every day and pump it, because that's no. I gave it to everybody in December. In January it tripled, and last time I looked it was back to a double. So anyway, so when you see this associated with us, we are committed to educating you, because nobody understands this. Okay, I know really smart people that have read the white papers over and over, and they're like, I kind of still don't get it. Over time, you'll get it. Okay? And you might never get it, but you could still profit from it. Like my van, okay? I could not explain to you how an internal combustion engine works, or transmission. But I am competent to get into it and drive it to the store, obey all the traffic laws, use my blinkers, be courteous, and by the grace of God, return home safely. I can do that without knowing what goes on under the hood. Our goal is to teach you in some kind of way what goes on under the hood, so that you can then make the proper decisions. Because I'm telling you, if you think it's a flash in the pan and it's all blown over, it's only begun. Okay, and I can't tell you if Betamax or Sony is going to win the race. I don't know. I can't answer that. That's why I'm going to teach you about the technology, so you can decide what you want to do with this news and with this knowledge. Okay, it's new, it's here. So many people have made so much money. One of the coins out there, I read an article 2 months ago. If you had bought $2,000 worth of that particular coin, you could cash it in today for $1 million. I don't remember which coin it was. And the question is, well, why do we need all these different coins? Honestly, I'm not at the point yet where I'm comfortable giving you what I think is a really good answer. I just want you to know that my spare time, some of my spare time, not like I have a whole lot, is going into learning as much as I can so that I can share it with you just a little bit each day on the radio. And then we'll have webinars and Q&A sessions for people who see that this is the beginning of the next big thing. Okay, remember when AOL was putting those little discs out? Man, they were at the gas station, they were on the counter, they were on top of the pumps, they were in your mailbox, they were under your doormat. I mean, they were everywhere. They were coming up out of the sewer. If you turned on your sink in the kitchen, out came an AOL disc. I mean, they were everywhere. Nobody really knew what this internet thing was and where it was going and what it was going to become. But if you had gotten involved in some kind of way, not by buying some, stupid internet stock that went from $400 to $40 like Yahoo, I mean, if you got, I don't know, I can't think of a good analogy, but you know how many .com billionaires have been created despite the big meltdown, and it's getting a little frothy again. There's a lot of unicorns out there in Silicon Valley. That's companies with a valuation of $1 billion or more. Uber is valued at like 40 billion or 60 billion. They don't even own the cars. Some guy in a laptop in a coffee shop somewhere. Oh no, wait, that was Silk Road. But you get my point. $40 billion. That's their valuation. Seems a little high to me, but to the early employees who got stock options, they're not complaining. So, same goes for Snapchat and WeChat and all this other stuff. So, you're going to get a dose of some good stuff. You can tune it in or you can tune it out. It's entirely up to you. That's why I'm not going to go overboard on the radio show every day. That's not going to be the only thing we talk about. This is still going to be a radio program about all things E-mini. Okay? But as I learn, I'm going to share that knowledge with you. And outside of the show, we will have webinars, seminars, Q&A sessions. Later this week, by the way, on a different subject, we're going to have, at least this is my plan, on a day when I don't have a lot of mentoring sessions to do after the radio show, I'm going to do about a 30 to 45 minute Q&A style webinar. And we're going to talk about the weekly trading zones. Okay? If you're a CFRN partner and you're not incorporating this into your trading, you got to be bananas, man. When price was hanging out here earlier, this is the kind of stuff we're going to be talking about later in the week at that Q&A session. When price was hanging out here, okay, when that red candle closed down, all right, we didn't know if price was going to go to the zone overhead or the zone below. Now, we could have broken it down in a smaller time frame like we use in the live training room, and we could have used our indicator set to get a really good idea and deal with it from that perspective. Or when this candle closed, I could have put in an order to buy 24.44 with a target of 24.46, or I could have put in an order to sell 24.40 with a target of 24.38. Okay? Now, that's not some cherry-picked example. It's a bad example. Okay? It's the most recent example. See, I could go back over here. And I could cherry pick some really good stuff. But what I'm telling you is the same thing. When price was right here, this little doji, these two candles side by side, if you put in an order to buy 24.44 with a target of 46, and at the same time you put in an order to sell 24.40 with a target of 24.38, price is going to go to one of those zones. It may not go in a perfectly straight line, okay, like here, leg, retrace, leg. So maybe you don't want to put the order in ahead of time, set it and forget it, go golfing, and come home later and see how much money you made. Maybe you want to actually watch the chart until the opportunity presents itself. Now, this candle here, it had a high of 45, okay, and we were talking about 44 to 46, but keep in mind that's last week's zone, okay. This one is last week and this week, all right. So I mean, there was 2 points here, You didn't get 2 points there, but you got 2 points here. And you got 2 points there. You got 2 points here. You got 2 points here. But you didn't quite get it there. You follow what I'm saying? You got it there, you got it there, you got it there, and you got it there. Did you get it there? The high of this candle was... Nope, you didn't get it there, but you got it there. And again there. Okay. So, get your questions together. You can Google CFRN weekly trading zones. There's short articles, long articles, articles with charts. So you can kind of educate yourself if you're interested. And make some notes for the Q&A session. I'll know by tomorrow what day we're going to have it on, if it's going to be this week. At the top of the Google search page, where it says images, if you click there, you'll be able to see some charts going all the way back to 2009 that shows price doing the exact same thing it did today. Zone to zone to zone. Okay? So, I always get questions about that, and you can do one of two things. You can trade it zone to zone. We have partners that do that. Or you can use it as a very effective backdrop to the indicator-based trading that you learn in the live training room each and every day on the range chart. Okay? Now this is, as you know, in the live training room we use a range chart, 4-tick range. Now that's not a 4-tick chart. That would be much too fast to trade. A range chart means a 4-tick range chart. What that means is every candle on the screen is exactly 4 ticks tall. It creates beautiful symmetry, and it makes doing what we do, well, easier to do. Okay. Everything works exactly, if you put it on a 30-minute chart, everything works exactly the same. Bearish cross, price pulls away, price pulls back. Now, when we get a bearish cross, what do we expect? Lower prices. When price pulls back to the BVC, what do we expect? Lower prices. And when we get a bullish cross, what do we expect? Higher prices. So, those of you that have been through the training or are currently going through the training or are getting ready to start the training, okay, you will learn all of this stuff. All right. Not only in class every day, but on Thursday nights. And when we say we offer unlimited one-on-one mentoring to partners, that's what I do every afternoon. Now, here's something I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about, right now, Michael takes care of the live training room. I'm in there somewhere. I'm always in the background with my headphones on doing work. But what I'm thinking about doing, because I need to free up some afternoon time for some of these other projects. So we have the big webinar room where we do the live training room. And then we have a smaller go-to meeting. That's where I do the one-on-one mentoring sessions with you. And we're not typing back and forth. We're actually talking like we're having a telephone conversation, but we also have the benefit of you can see my charts, and I can see your charts if we decide to flip it around and make you the presenter. Now, a mentoring session is only 45 minutes long because the human mind can only absorb so much, and you kind of got to digest it until you have an aha moment. Then you're ready for another mentoring session. Well, then you're ready to put it into practice, and then another mentoring session. So while I'll only do 45 minutes a day with you, I'll do 2 days a week with you or 3 days a week. I mean, you got to give it time to gel and to use it so that when you come back, you have a new set of questions because you've now moved up to a higher level of understanding. Okay? That's how that works. At the end of 90 days, we don't kick you to the curb. If you want to remain an active partner, in other words, everything stays the same, you still have access to the trading room, you still get the weekly trading zones, you still have access to the members area of the website, you still have access to unlimited one-on-one mentoring. There's a minimal monthly maintenance fee, and you can stay an active partner for as long as you want. Okay? All right. Sounds like a deal to me. Okay. I haven't even looked at this. Okay. Let me see if John's here. That's him calling right now. I'm so sorry, John. I completely... I had a senior moment. I think that's what they call it. I'm opening your mic. You have an open mic. Welcome to the show.
It's okay, thanks. I was actually listening to your to all the stuff you were saying.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad you heard it, so you know, and that's great. And thank you for being patient and waiting and still being there. So.
It's okay, anytime. And kudos to you for all the good things you've been doing. The you know, it's interesting. You used a phrase that a mentor of mine used to tell me is sooner or later you're going to get it. And it's kind of like being at school. You know, when you were at school early and you had, stuff was hard to get, and then suddenly the light goes on and it's easy. Frankly, English, I used to have a tough time with English back at school, and I think you know from my writings that that's no longer an issue.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Who would have thought, that I end up, as some people say, I have a gift. But
you do.
Anyhow,
I think you do.
Thanks. Well, you do as well too. So you've been published in a lot of interesting places. Getting published on Alpha is a pretty big deal. And tell me, somebody big you wrote an article for.
I've been on Motley Fool. I've been a lot of different places.
Money Morning, Motley Fool, Money Morning. That's that's all. They're pretty big deals to be on those. So
I enjoy the writing part, and if I didn't have so many other tasks to tend to, I think I would enjoy the life of a writer. But. Like, what's that guy's name, Bill Bonner, that writes all those articles for Agora Financial?
Yeah, he's got a real gift, that guy.
He travels around the world, and, he's sitting in some little street side cafe in Paris, and he's writing his next article. And so anyway.
Yeah. Well, I've been writing for a long time now about gold breaking out through 1300, and it finally happened. So,
did it hold on a pullback yet?
Well, it's actually still making new highs. It's 17.
Okay.
It's up $17, right? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we are, guys.
Do you see the flash crash was the low? Do you see that? Isn't that amazing?
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you know? I don't know if this to be a fact, but I read an article over the weekend. There was an order placed for 2,000 ounces of gold, and that's what caused this.
No, I saw that. Yeah.
Did you see that? Okay.
Yeah. So
the article didn't tell me if the order was to buy or sell 2,000 ounces. It just said an order went through the exchange for 2,000 ounces of gold, and the market reacted rather violently. But it led to, we had a happy ending. So. Yeah.
No, I also mentioned that, actually coincidentally with the breakout at 1300, we could probably get the breakout on the nugget at 34 and the JNUG at 19 to 20, and that's happened rather nicely, rather beautifully today. We made a point of reiterating or going even more long the nugs and the golds on Friday going into the close, and has performed spectacularly so far today. We actually were long the oil as well, and we sold the oil right on the highs last night, along with all the products, and the oil is taking a pretty big hit today. Although I think it's a buy back down in this area, somewhere around this place. We also got lucky. We were short the markets. We call that got that sell-off on Friday, that late sell-off in the markets, which was kind of a surprise, actually, the way it kind of broke down and continued down this overnight. And we just used a little contingency order to capture the bottom at around actually I was right here at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and we called that upturn, and it turned out to be a pretty big deal and rallied right into the open. We opened higher effectively. I got the turn on the VIXs, the UVs and stuff, pretty well, because what happened on Friday was the after the close, the UV, the SV, the SVXY, and the XIV actually traded a couple of dollars higher after the close, which was kind of an anomaly, because the market was actually tanking. It was tanking as we went into the close, and yet the VIXs, the UVs rather. Sorry, excuse me, the SVs, the SVXY and the XIV were actually going higher. So I sort of took a bet on it, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to sell the highs of this thing right at the close. And it was about 6:15 when I did it, or maybe 6 o'clock or something on Friday, and buy the UVs down at the lows, just as a kind of a bet. So what happened this morning was the UVs actually opened and went higher, and the UVs and the SVs and the XIV actually opened on the highs and went down. So the trade worked out very well, actually. And then later on, the UVs broke out to a higher high because of the way the market's going right now. And one of the things that's not very good today is the FAZ is acting. Put out the FAZ, which is a negative financial ETF, if you can. FAZ. Z. If you can put that on a chart. I don't know whether you can.
John, I don't know if you heard the very first part of what I said about the CME coming out with a Bitcoin contract and an index.
Yeah, that sounds incredible.
The Winklevoss twins are opening another fund, and then somebody else is going to have a both like triple or double long and a double short.
That could be pretty good. We got to pay a lot of attention to that, because there'll be a lot of unbelievable trading. I mean, look at the thing today. It was down in the 4,200 area yesterday, and it's back up to 4,350, I think right now.
Yeah, and these things trade 24/7.
Yeah.
365.
Yeah, could be a very good source of income for the future.
Could be.
So anyhow, I'm kind of puzzled, to tell you the truth. The market's not acting better, but because I think it's going to. Maybe we got to watch this week real careful, because we got Wednesday and Thursday. So there may be a turnaround tomorrow. If there's a turnaround tomorrow in the market and it starts going higher, I think you want to be long, because the potential to rally into the end of the month is very real. And
look at the difference between a 1 year and today. Boom.
Yeah.
It's the max. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing has been basing now for 3 years.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that check the same thing with a lot of these things. I mean, look at the dust. Remember, I've been talking about the dust. The dust has broken down to virtually new all-time record lows now, which is one of the reasons why we're up $17 on the gold.
Okay, there's the dust. That's
Look
just
at
today.
it.
That's just
Yeah,
today.
look at it. Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of those. This is one of those negative. This is the negative one.
Yeah, correct, on the gold.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, look at it. Gee, it's incredible. It's kind of really bullish for gold when you look at that chart. Would you agree? I mean, can you imagine if we break down off that?
Oh yeah.
Sideways?
Well, okay. That FAZ. Now, was that a
That's a negative. That's a negative on the financials.
The FAZ. Okay. All right. That's on banks. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So put up the FAS to get the other perspective, and that's not such good news.
FAS.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what's that?
That's the bullish financials. So not looking
okay.
too good.
Gotcha.
And when if the financials are falling, it's not such a good sign. Usually.
Right.
So it kind of implies, we might be in for a bit of trouble here, especially if the Nasdaq were to go negative today, and to see the Dow's coming off again. If we get anywhere near the lows of the day, it's going to be a problem. That's the gold, right? Look how strong that gold is. It looks beautiful. Fantastic.
Now here's what I want to see, John. I mean, I don't know. We've broken 1300, and nobody in their right mind would want to see it go back to 1300. But honestly, I do.
Doesn't have to come back there.
I want to see it come back. I want to see it touch it, maybe even spike it, and then I want to see it run for the hills, man. Yeah. Because then we know we've overcome this hurdle. It's withstood the test. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. And there's been no more important area in a long time than 1300 for gold. So, if it keeps going higher, fine. But I would feel
it's a very big deal.
If it came back and tested and held.
Yeah, today is a seminal event in the life of gold. It really is. This is.
We could double from beginning. Here.
Yeah. And, I'm telling you, remember we said 18 and a half by mid-September. Feels like we're going there, and honestly, it is a deja vu moment from 2010 when I believe I was possibly the first person in the world to call for $50 silver. And I was pretty specific. I said by the second quarter of 2011, and amazingly it happened. And if you remember, once we look, there was a lot of churning around that 18 level before it happened, and then it suddenly took off, and it really took off like a bat out of hell. It sort of got up into the 20s. Next thing you know, it's at 24, 25, and before you knew it, it was sort of towards the end of the year, we were in the 30s. And when you look at the evidence today, and you look at the this fact that for the first time, possibly, I don't know, 50 years or more, silver is in a supply deficit. Is the demand is actually outstripping supply. So if that, and remember, a lot of the mines are low grade these days. The copper is the same. Look at the way copper has been acting. That's something we've been predicting since it was just above $2 when it bottomed. You've got the combination of the copper. 40% of an electric car is copper.
40% of an electric car is copper.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Is that because of the batteries?
Correct. But the wiring and the batteries and everything, and the connections and the turbines. The motors, all those things. So and sometimes I think some of these cars have things in the wheels that do things as generate electricity and stuff. When you brake.
Yeah, when you brake, right.
Yeah.
I always thought that was incredibly clever how they did that.
Yeah. So according, a friend of mine, together we kind of projected copper to about $8 sometime in the 20s. In this, look, we're basically in a 7-year upcycle. in the gold, silver, in the metals, and we're in a 7-year down cycle in the dollar, and I call it the triples 50% trifecta. This is the era, and I'm the first person in the world to come up with this idea. Nobody else has it. It's my own original research. This is the 50% triple trifecta, and in other words, what's going to happen is we're going to have, and the combination of that is really to the power of 10, because it's like 50 times 50 times 50 in a way, because we got 50% drop in the dollar, 50% decline in gold output from mines projected over the next 7 years. And we have, I think nobody could disagree that the world, with the growth in wealth around the world and population, with China, India, and you have a 50% increase in demand for gold over the next 7 years. And that combination is probably going to send gold up tenfold from here. So this is just the beginning. And certainly eightfold, 7 or eightfold, I think is a reasonable bet for gold. Certainly from the lows at 1050, 1047. And, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out, there's a lot of reasons why gold is going to go higher. And I'm completing, I know I've said this a million times about finishing off this gold report, but I couldn't do it last night because I had to work on a project till about 4 o'clock in the morning. And I was working the whole of Sunday feverishly to get this out. But
where are you going to publish it?
I'm going to let you know about it as soon as it's ready.
Okay, because I'll get it on Marchart and Inside Futures and Seeking Alpha.
Yeah, it'll be a big revealing, because there's some stuff in this I guarantee you that nobody's ever put together. When you see all
I'll
the things,
get it on investing.com too for you.
Thanks. Well, look, it's about 40 or 50 pages long, maybe, and
so we'll have to do a teaser and then a link that takes them off.
It's not all. It's not all. It's not all my work. What it is it's a compendium. Exactly, compilation of overwhelming arguments for gold to go higher, and there is there's several charts in there that when you see them, and nobody's ever kind of identified the similarity to this particular chart, when you see it, I mean, you really immediately can see the possibility of a multiple move up in this next cycle in gold. It's virtually guaranteed. And remember, look, right now we're sort of at the peak of like we were in 2000, when everything looked fantastic. Remember, look, at the turn of the 19th century into the 20th century, there were visions of boundless hope and optimism. Guess what? The market topped out in the beginning of the 20th century and suffered a 3-year correction into 1903. You had the panic of 1903. And curiously enough, we had the same thing. We had all this bullishness in 2000. And, Bill Gates, I remember it distinctly, he was the first guy of the new millennium on Larry King Live. And that was the top of Microsoft back then. And it sort of happened to get, what's his name the other day, Bezos. As soon as he was on the front cover of Time or something, bang, Amazon. That's why we sold the stock at 1082, or and shorted it at 1082. So and it only just bottomed out possibly last night. It's trying to kind of find a bottom right now, Amazon, but it's had a meteoric fall. I mean, it's fallen $145, or sorry, it's $137, I think, down to about $945.
Well, grocery store stocks are falling as well. Now,
well, look,
I heard the grocery store stocks were falling this morning, I go, well, that's because of the Amazon deal. But because I don't follow Amazon's, I follow their activities and their business model and all that, but I don't really, because I don't own any of the stock, I don't pay that much attention to the stock price. I didn't know they were off $150.
Yeah, no, they 140, actually, about 140 off the high is about where they got to, because they made a low this morning and they reversed up.
Down today? How much?
No, they're actually up, I think. I think
okay.
yeah, but they were up earlier. I don't know. I haven't looked at it for a while. But the interesting thing is Bezos, did a couple of things in the last few days. He is offering a discount to all Amazon Prime members in Whole Foods. That is a brilliant idea. And secondly, he's offering some discounts just to get people in the stores. So, he's prepared to sort of probably take a loss on this to begin with, and maybe that's why they hit the stock last week. But, it's certainly a great idea to get more people in the store that may never ever have gone there before, and he's definitely a threat to other, but remember when this all happened and Walmart got tanked, and then Walmart had a gigantic rally. So
they did that. They went out and bought that company Jet. Jet was supposedly going to be the next Amazon, and Jet never went anywhere, never did anything. And Walmart bought Jet so that they could amp up their online sales, so that they weren't just the world's largest retailer, but that they could. This guy, all they got for their money, and it was a lot. I forget how much it was. They got the CEO of Jet, who has come over and, kind of done nothing. He may have been a part of putting together this deal with Bezos. Then he earned his money that way. But every analyst will tell you that for Walmart to buy Jet was a huge mistake, unless he was instrumental in this deal. That is being put together between Google Express and Walmart, where you'll be driving home from work, you'll use an Echo-like device in your car, and you'll say, I need some bananas, and I need 2 dozen eggs, I want a soda, give me a 2-liter Coke, some whole wheat bread, and when you're driving and talking, and then you pull up to the curb at Walmart, and the guy hands you your bag of groceries. I mean, that's pretty cool.
No, they were going there for sure. No doubt about it.
Well, that's happening. They inked that deal last week, Google and Walmart, and so that's going to be happening imminently. You'll use your Google Voice Assistant on your phone to place your orders. Also, last week, approval came in for the final go-ahead for the Amazon and Whole Foods. They were waiting on regulatory approval because, the potential monopoly, blah, blah. But anyway, it's approved. It's done. It's a done deal now. So Amazon just made shopping at Whole Foods cheaper. Here's exactly how much you'll save on each item. On Monday, the day actually it was today, the day that Amazon's $13.7 billion acquisition of the grocer went through, prices on certain Whole Foods immediately dropped. Starting today, Whole Foods will offer lower prices on a selection of best-selling staples across its stores. Let's see. On Friday, Business Insider visited a Whole Foods location in a Brooklyn neighborhood and checked the prices on 15 items, including a few variations on similar items. The total cost of the basket on Friday, pre-approval of the acquisition, was $97.76. On Monday, we returned to the same Whole Foods store, checked back in on the same items. This time, the total cost of the 15 items was $75.85. That's nearly a 23% drop in the total cost.
That's a pretty big deal.
Some of the new discounts nearly cut prices in half. Bananas, for example, used to be 79 cents a pound. Now they're 49 cents a pound. The price of local grass-fed 85% lean ground beef went to $6.99 a pound from $10.99 a pound. Wow, that's...
We'll get people in the store.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. A 4-pack of organic avocados, that stayed at $6.99. That's a lot. You can buy those at the dollar store all day long for a buck.
Avocados have gone out of sight recently. The price, the crazy.
Well, we've got this chain here It's called 99 cent only. It's a chain store. It's not one of these little, you know, kind of dusty, dirty, you know, dollar stores. This is, you know, they got the color scheme and everything, and they've been in business for a long time, and every one you go into is exactly like the other one. It's everything. It's a franchise like McDonald's, and we get 4 medium-sized avocados there for $1. I mean, my wife does a lot of shopping there. I'm trying to look. Kale dropped 50 cents. Organic lettuce went down 50 cents. Almond butter dropped $1 a jar. Fuji apples dropped $1.50 a pound. You know, they got guys, you can Google it up. There's a whole list of, you know, people who were never Whole Foods shoppers. Maybe they wanted to be, but let's face it, the stuff's overpriced, you know. But Bezos has the buying power, and who's not to say that he won't snap up some other struggling grocery chain and, you know, either turn it into a Whole Foods or something else, you know.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, look, it's all about
some people don't care if it's organic. They want cheap, you know.
Whereas
other people want organic and they'll pay any price for it.
Yeah, it's all about territory. And you know, look, you know, just the thing, it's kind of like, you know, there's no guarantees. Look, there's no guarantee that the U.S. dollar is going to stay up like everybody thinks it will, or go higher, because we've reached a time when, you know, being mesmerized or think that the U.S. dollar is invincible when we're the biggest debtor nation on the face of the earth, the 20 trillion in debt.
Did you see the huge drop today?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, no. Listen, it's happening. It's on its way down. I mean, it's headed for 90 now, and then if it breaks 90, we're going to be at 87. And I'd hate to tell you this, but the implications are that we're going to go to new all-time lows in the U.S. dollar in this next 7-year cycle, and that automatically puts gold at new all-time highs, you know, without any doubt whatsoever. So.
Since Friday, we've gone from 93.33 to 92.14.
Yeah, no, it's big, and look, we're down on the year. This is why. Why do you think gold is really going up today? I'll tell you, because the pennies finally dropped with a lot of these people, where, you know, we're not just down 10% anymore on the year. We're down almost 15% now. Remember, we were at 103, and we're now actually a little bit more than 15% as of this morning. Believe me, now there's no inflation up until now, but the inflation hasn't hit the economy yet because it's kind of a lagging thing. But over the next few months, that inflation is going to start, you know, being visible in the economy. It's going to start coming in a way it hasn't done for years. And because you know, when the dollar's going up, it's disinflationary. The dollar's going down now, it's inflationary. And it's actually good news for Trump and the economy, because if he can keep the pedal to the metal and maybe eke out the 3%, you know, if you get 1 or 2% inflation, that theoretically brings the GDP up to 5%. And going, you know, the best performance of the stock market in the late 90s was when inflation was running 2-3%. It's sort of a sweet spot for stocks. So the perfect scenario for stocks, if you like, is increasing rates, not drastically increasing, but, you know, slowly but steadily increasing rates, indicating a stronger economy, a little bit of inflation, and continued good news like we've been getting on the stocks themselves, you know, with earnings, et cetera, et cetera. That's a potent, you know, elixir for higher stock prices. And also, don't forget that higher stock prices are a function of a weaker dollar. So, you know, the weaker the dollar gets, the higher the stock price. Especially for the Dow stocks, you know, that have 2/3 of their earnings coming from overseas. I mean, think about it. You know, if the Dow stocks are doing business in Europe, imagine, look at what's happened. The dollar's gone down by 15%, and the euro's gone up by
the euro's
15%.
at a 2-year high.
Yeah, it's almost gone up 20%, right? So think of the earnings, the massive, increase in earnings to any Dow companies doing business in Europe. And what that does is it reduces the cost of labor in the US and manufacturing and everything. So it's an incredibly positive thing to be happening to the economy. And it's also bullish for the rest of the world because, when was China's greatest growth? It was in the 2000s when we were growing 9% to 14% a year in the Chinese economy, up into the Beijing Olympics of 2008, when we were running at about 14% ahead of that. And China was absolutely on fire. It's still on fire today, but it's growing because it's a much bigger economy. The economy is twice the size, but it's growing at half the pace. But it's still growing at a phenomenal rate. And Brazil.
Have you ever been to China?
I have, yeah. I've been, yeah.
I've been to Hong Kong, but I've never been to mainland China.
Well, Hong Kong is an awesome city. I mean, I call it the city where time is in a hurry, because it really is an amazing place. The energy there is just spectacular.
At night, all those noodle stands. I mean, one after another, and I'm like, I mean, they're noodles. How can each one be so uniquely different? But every drunken Chinese guy I ran into, he would tell me, "Oh, you got to come over here. These are the best noodles in the world." They all look the same to me. And
no, I actually lived for a while in Hong Kong. It was quite an experience. Really.
Well, I was there before the Chinese took it back over. The lease was, going to be. They told
1997.
They told us the story. I was there probably in 81.
Yeah.
80, 81, somewhere in there, 79.
Well, I tell you, there's no experience like arriving in Hong Kong by sea. That's an experience.
We did.
I mean,
yeah.
And I don't know whether it happened to your ships, but it's almost like the pirates, throwing up the grappling hooks and climbing up the ladders to get on the ship, because all these junks are around, and they're selling you stuff.
Those noisy little things, man. I hadn't thought of those in a long time. Oh my gosh, they were so noisy.
Yeah, and did you ever go to that place, Aberdeen, the harbor there, where it's junks, all these people who live on junks in the bay, just incredible.
Have you been to Amsterdam?
I have, yeah.
You know how people live in those houseboats along the canals there?
Sure.
Yeah, I could probably get used to that, I think.
Well, listen, Richard Branson started life in a houseboat in London, so as I actually remember seeing him, a couple of times in the early days when he was living on that houseboat, and it's actually a pretty good way to run a business, because you're right there in the center of the city, and you at the time, costs were not that big, it wasn't cachet to be living on a houseboat in London back then. It is now. Probably cost you an arm and a leg, but back then it was a pretty unusual thing, So, and it can be reasonably comfortable. It's just like anything. But back in those days, you didn't have all the gear that you have today that you can put anywhere, just about. I mean, look at these yachts. Look at these incredible super yachts today, mega yachts, and some of them have 4, 5, 6 satellite globes, for phones and communication. It's just incredible, and so the cruise ships. The cruise ships, back in the old days, we were always asking for. The markets look like they're turning back up again. Anyhow,
last night on Crude, our sell, when the email went out, we said to consider selling 47.65. Now, guys, when I tell you about important prices, important areas are almost always tested. I know you've been hearing me say it for years. I know you get tired of it, but there's new people in the audience. Look at what happened. We get this beautiful drop down to from 47.65. We get down to 47.29. So that's, over a $300 per contract move. And then look what it does. It comes right back to the trigger. Now, remember the rule says it has to go one tick above the trigger to institute a new trade. And so from the trigger at 47.65, well, when it hit 47.65, when it hit 46.75, that was $1,000 per contract right here. 46.75, and that's a day maker,
Yeah, Dwayne, can you put up the daily chart of S&P for a minute?
I sure can. Yeah.
Actually, before you do, why don't you go to the daily on this one? Take a quick peek at it.
$1,000 per contract available. Okay, and then. This way I won't have to come back to this if I just do this real quick. The sell on it again was crude oil, sell 47.65, yeah. Sell 47.65. Okay. And I'll give everyone in the audience, I'll give you another opportunity to take a screenshot of last night's email. So from 47.65 to 46.20, that would be that's 14. That's 14.
13.50, is that right?
Yeah. We'll call it 13. So $1,300 per contract available. Now, guys, we never get out at the swing high or swing low because we trail our stop. So you just got to accept the fact that you're always going to leave a little something on the table. Leave something for the next guy, okay? But if you were using the indicator set to guide you through this, and when we get a runner, I encourage you to do that. And I'll show you what it looks like here if it'll pop up real quick, and then I'll do those daily charts for John. So it'll take a minute because I got... Okay, that price came right back to the BBC as it poked over that. So those of you that got the indicators and the Concierge Trade Alerts and the weekly trading zones, I mean, look at this consolidation in that zone, even though it's last week's zone. Today's only Monday. Okay, bearish cross, price pulled away, price pulled back, down close, sell the open of the next candle, bang. Just... if you're not trading the zones, I don't know why. That's all I can say. I don't know why. Okay. So, all right, enough of that. You want to do daily on the crude first?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, what's the problem? GCLV7, there we go. Okay, now, what in particular, how far back do you want me to try to go?
No, that's fine. It just, actually, the whole situation doesn't look too great with this crude right now.
If I go, I can
we
go way back.
We could be testing. Do you see that trend line coming down off that thing? We might be just testing that. And if we get a look, we're probably, based on what Ed was saying last week, we're probably going to get a couple of weeks of inventory declines. So, maybe tomorrow the crude turns around and heads back up.
Tomorrow we get the API numbers, right?
Yeah, and I think that if you can put the S&P up now, I'd like to see. I think the S&P has kind of a flag formation.
Let me just see real quick what. Oh, come on! My computer's lagging. I'm in the background. I have a download that's been going on for 2 days because it is for the cryptocurrency, it's an Ethereum wallet, and I think what it's doing when they talk about a distributed ledger, that everything's transparent, I think what it's doing is it's literally downloading every transaction that's ever taken place, and I will have a distributed ledger on my computer. When, you know, after a couple of hours when it wasn't done, I got nervous and I went on to Google and I said it's taking a long time for the new version of the Ethereum wallet with Mist to download. And I started seeing all these posts from people. Man, it took 2 days for it to get fully downloaded. So don't worry, just let it keep running. Okay, so what I did, guys, is I made a price channel here. I did an exact copy of this trend line. So this is the exact same angle. So we've hit it once, twice, 3 times. That's pretty close. 4, 5, 6. Okay, once it gets back to the midpoint, then it's a 50-50 shot of which direction it's going to go. But I can say with a certain degree of certainty that we're, hell no, that's not the halfway point, the midpoint. 47.65. If we take out the low of today, what's the low here? 46.46. 46.46. There's a $1,000 trade right here, guys. You know, you got to be patient. This isn't a day trade. From there to there. 46, 47 to 45. We've got to get below this most recent swing low, and then we simply want to. We don't want to wait for price to get to this low, because buyers are going to, as we dip down to that low, buyers are going to see that as a great buying opportunity to take it to the top of the channel. Because look at how much money they made. They went from 45.50 up to, what was the high there? 45.50 to 50.43. That's a $5,000 move. So as price approaches this level, buyers are going to come in early. They're not going to wait. First time down, they're not going to wait for it to touch that level. They're going to buy their ticket early so they don't miss the trade. Now, will it go back to test the top of the channel? I'm not a prophet. I don't know that. But I do know that to the top of the channel from here is there's $5,000 of potential. If all you get is from here back to here, that's $1,000 per contract. But don't wait for it to get to this low. I'm telling you, when you see the buyers come in and start to run it, okay, buy it on a stop, trail a hard physical stop, okay? If there's no such thing as a mental stop doesn't exist. You've either got a physical hard stop or you're a walking dead man, all right, period. Okay, you want me to go to the S&P now?
Yeah, please, thanks.
Oh, Ed Corey just, he's in Houston. He just messaged me. I messaged him earlier. He says we're okay so far, but the underpasses were up to, he was on the show Friday. Well, that's right, you were here.
Yeah, I was wondering how he was doing, actually.
We are okay so far, but the underpasses were up to 20 feet underwater in the metro area. Our city got 23 inches in 24 hours, and we're under a flash flood warning through the afternoon. All the roads were impassable near us. We have some friends whose homes are flooded. Thank God the flooded golf course stopped within 4 feet of our backyard fence and has receded 6 feet since then. Water levels were 3 feet above the 500-year floodplain. We had dozens of tornado warnings the last couple days, but none today. I think we've weathered the worst part of the storm. My daughter's home is okay so far. There are many reasons why Psalm 27 is my favorite psalm. Prayers are appreciated for all of us in Southeast Texas. It's a miracle many more people were not fatally injured. Thanks for checking in on us, Dwayne. And I'm going to, in a minute, I'll put up a picture. I've got to email this to myself because he sent it to me as a text message. But I'll put it on the screen in a minute. Let me just get it sent. Paste. Okay, send. Send. Okay. All right, so now we're going to make all... Guys, you have to, on DT Pro, you got to make the drawing objects disappear first. Just highlight them. This right here selects all. Delete. Okay. Now go to ES at ESU at ES. That's all I need. At ES. That's a continuous chart. It's not the one we use in the training room, but it should do the trick if my box doesn't lock up. Okay, that picture just came in. Come on. I hope my chart doesn't lock up here. I had a feeling it might at some point in the show. Because I got so much stuff. We have this thing downloading in the background. It's a real hog. When I started, I had no idea. Well, okay, the wheel started. Okay, now we got, there's the, that's not what we wanted. Try it one more time. At ES. Okay, there it is. All right, that goes all the way back to February 2nd. What it,
you see
anything in particular?
See, it still has a kind of a corrective type of deal here. You know, if we were to break out the top of this flag next few days, going into the end of the month, I'd consider that to be pretty
You talking about this?
Yeah.
So in other words, this right here?
Yeah.
Is that how you would draw it?
Yeah, that's pretty.
For those of you in the audience who are just learning to draw trend lines, if you Google CFRN drawing trend lines with Burt, B-U-R-T, he and I did a webinar a couple years ago, and we spent an hour teaching people how to draw trend lines. I mean, I realize that's an elementary subject for those of you who've been trading for a long time, but for someone who's brand new to trading, it's just, part of their education, something they have to learn. So we spent an hour, and it's out there archived. Just Google it, and if you're not sure, maybe if that webinar, it will help you, and it will, when you come into the training room in the morning, you will be able to ask some higher level questions. Some places they get aggravated if you ask a bunch of questions. We don't, because the student that asks a lot of questions is someone who really wants to get ahead and succeed. And we get excited about that because we'll have another success story to talk about, So don't ever be afraid to ask questions. No one sees what you type except myself and Michael. Bert, if he happens to be in the room. Nobody's going to judge you. We're here to help you. So this is the flag that John's talking about. So it's going to break one way or the other. Now, you're thinking to the upside, John?
Well, given the surprises of being on the upside up until now, I'd give the benefit of the doubt. But, if we were look when gold's up $17, the market doesn't like that too much, which is one of the reasons why we're sort of struggling today. And you know, if we've got September, the Labor Day coming up, and if the trend suddenly goes down from Labor Day, that wouldn't be good for the markets. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad for the economy. It means the economy is probably getting better, and the markets are starting to top out a bit. And remember, look, we basically had a target, you know, mid-August, if you like, or for a high, and I said the Dow would probably get, the very best it could get up to would be about 22,200, somewhere like that, 250, 230, and that's about as far as it got. And it's been struggling ever since. You know, can you stick the Dow up, actually, if you wouldn't mind?
I just want to guys, on the ES, okay, John pointed out this little business we got going on here. I drew a straight line, straight as I could get it for now, across this top resistance to this top resistance. If we take out that resistance, that means we're also breaking this. If we break this trend line and this trend line, I love it when I can have a horizontal and then this type of trend line, if I can break them both. Now, from roughly 24.59 to 24.72, that's going to be about a 12-point trade. Your risk needs to be just below here, and depending upon, might be able to get in a little bit earlier depending upon, you know, where it breaks. And we could actually get in at 55. If we went from 55 to 70, that'd be 15 points. And if the stock I jump in, I'll trade it back down. Okay, that's 15 up, that's 15 down. And that is a low risk trade. When you're long here, your stop's here, and if you get short with the sellers, your stop's right here. I mean, this is what we teach you. We teach you to read a chart like a newspaper, like a mystery novel. Okay, where are the buyers, where are the sellers, what are they trying to do, what's the agenda, and where can I find a low risk opportunity? High probability, low risk. Okay, so now you asked me to do what, John? Put up the Dow?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, yeah.
Sure, you bet. Okay, there we go. Now we've got.
Yeah, see the same thing there. You kind of got a. Looks like it's a kind of a pause situation. If we were to break out, you know, above, we could possibly have a pretty big leg up. You know, remember look at that mega leg. Wait a minute, is this a daily?
This is a daily of the continuous chart.
Yep.
And I'm going to get as much as I can in here.
Yeah,
and
see the last mega leg. We've had a couple of mega legs on the Dow, and it's gone sideways and gone another one, and it's sort of doing the same thing again. So
watch this, guys. We're going to go right up to that high, and we're going to grab this little guy, and we're going to bring it right up to this swing low. Now, based on Fibonacci, where might we go? We could, the first stop is 22,676, 23,500, 24,000, 24,500, and then if we get 100% extension of this leg, which might be a bit of a stretch, it puts us up just shy of 26,500.
Well, think about what I just said. I mean, it is a provable fact that most Dow companies, at least 2/3 of their earnings come from overseas. So when you consider the euros are up 15 20% nearly.
2-year
and
high.
The dollar is,
Yeah.
and the dollar is down by the same amount. They've got about a 35% swing in revenues, in actual net. This could be very bullish for the Dow. I mean, on some sort of a breakout here. If the tax cuts come in and the infrastructure and everything else, I mean, the markets are going to go dramatically higher into the end of the year and probably into 18. So this may be the sort of pause before the next big move. But like I say, got to be careful because it could go either way, and the market is kind of being vulnerable here in the last couple of weeks for a lot of reasons. But how we close?
This is about a 250 right here, guys. This is what I call a safe trade. I mean, it's safe because you have a hard stop in. You don't have to risk a lot on the trade. This is 250 points in this little shaded area, okay, before you have your first potential resistance. Some people see that as a target. I see it as resistance. Once it's overcome and holds on a pullback, I see it as support, and people see that as the next target. I see it as the next line of resistance, okay? Just jumping from foxhole to foxhole. So 250 Dow points at $5 a point. Well, that's $1,200 per contract, and that could happen over the period. We could easily in the Dow move 250 points. We could do that in a day. We could do it in a couple days. So just make sure that you have sufficient margins if you're going to hold overnight.
There's a couple of other positives going on today in the market under the surface, particularly in the drug sector, pharmaceutical sector. Gilead, you remember our old friend Gilead? We call the bottom of this.
I read an article. They just endorsed some new cancer treatment.
Yeah, but they bought Kite for nearly $12 billion. And what's interesting is the stock is actually
Kite.
It's a big pharma. It's a cancer.
Okay, well then that's what this article that I saw was about. The heck that thing go? I know I got it here. Gilead just handed a revolutionary kind of cancer treatment a $12 billion endorsement.
Yeah.
Gilead Sciences.
Gilead could become a pretty big deal.
What does that trade at per share right now?
74 right now, 74 and a bit. When we called the bottom around the 60s and the low 60s.
Yeah.
And it's because these are the people who have the hepatitis cure, and they keep advertising it to all these baby boomers, and I was kind of being surprised that it took so long for the stock to actually start going up, because they charge about $100,000 for this treatment.
Well, I got to tell you that interferon that people with hepatitis C have had to use in the past, that I had an employee and she was on the I had 2 employees on the interferon treatment, and man, they went through hell. I mean, they got well, they got better, but in the process of getting better, every time you have to take that shot, you get sick as a dog.
Yeah, this new stuff. I mean, the new hepatitis treatment is phenomenal. I mean, it's amazing, So I mean, it works, and it doesn't take that long to knock it out.
It says
and
this
there's somebody.
Is an entirely new area of cancer development. How does it work? Short T-cell therapy removes a person's cells from the body, re-engineers them, and then puts the cells back in the body where they can attack cancer cells. That means that a person's own cells are the therapy, which makes it more difficult to manufacture than your average pill. That's okay. That's why it's so expensive. Gilead won't have to wait long to see if the FDA will approve Kite's leading cell therapy, which is called, I can't even pronounce it. In November, Kite is expected to get an answer from the FDA regarding its CAR-T treatment for a type of blood cancer called aggressive B-cell non-Hodgkin lymphoma. In data Kite released in February, the company found that out of 101 patients, 36% had a complete response to the treatment after 6 months. The one-time treatments won't come cheap. While companies might price the drug based on how well it works, Axicell's price tag could still be $325,000. Analysts expect the therapy to generate $1.7 billion in sales by 2022. So what do you think this could, okay, Gilead's trading at $75 today. If in November the FDA gives them the nod, do you think it will have a dramatic effect on the on the price of the stock?
Yeah, I think you'll see it over 100. Probably going to see it start going up that way anyway, because the fact that it's up on this announcement, not down, is a real positive.
And what if the FDA denies it? How much damage will it do?
Well, that would be a problem. You know, you might see Gilead go back to its lows or possibly test its lows again, which, you know, could happen.
I don't know if you were tuned in at the very earlier. I don't know what time you tuned in, but although I left equities and came into futures for all the reasons I explained earlier, but I'm starting a stock newsletter and a stock podcast, and your contributions, of course, will be welcomed, and I'll tell you more about it as it all comes together. It will be separate from this daily radio program. It will be a little bit of a different format, and then the newsletter will come out monthly, but there'll be daily and weekly updates. So I'm kind of excited about that. I mean, I miss trading in equities for a lot of reasons, but there's a lot of reasons I hated equities. Damn short sellers, the market makers, manipulation, the pump and dump, the front running. Oh my God! And it's like I keep asking myself, Dwayne, you sure you want to get back into this hellhole again? But I'm going to be looking at a different breed of stocks than I looked in the past, and so we'll see. We'll see.
Well, speaking of gold stocks,
yes.
Our favorite gold. Look, I just want to let the audience know that here's what I see happening. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stocks, small gold stocks that are out there. Some of them are in the 10-cent range, and you know, it's sort of like an earthquake. You know, you get these tremors before the earthquake,
right?
And there's been a few tremors where a couple of, if you've got news, big news on a small gold stock, you can have a big move, because not all gold stocks are moving at the moment. They're sort of held back, if you like, mm-hmm. Because a lot of people sort of don't believe this 1300 is already broken, you know, and they kind of, there's been a kind of you know, just been a time when those gold stocks have not necessarily been in favor. So, but what happened is, just in the last few days, a couple of stocks have exploded higher. There's been 3 or 4 examples of stocks that have gone up dramatically on not necessarily that great of news, actually, mm-hmm. but the fact that they've had news, the whole market has kind of poured into them. So you've got the beginnings of what will ultimately probably be a blanket up move in these gold stocks in time, as we
boy, this Yahoo is just
Say again, sorry?
This Yahoo website has just gone to heck in a handcart. I mean, I don't know if it's, this time it looks like it's going to populate properly. Okay. So I just wanted to see what kind of volume. Was there any volume today? Yeah, 114.
No, it's kind of light. Yeah, it's kind of light. Yeah, it's kind of light today. But what I'm trying to get across to people is, you know, there's some events coming in the next few days, going into Labor Day, getting on the bulletin board and things like that, could really move the stock up dramatically. And look, the last time when you know, it was 4 cents, it basically went to 23, which is almost a 6-fold up move if you take the base that's developing now in a measured move, if we have a 5 or 6-fold up move, you're talking about 50, 60 cents a share. You know, there's certainly news, as the company's already published. There's a lot of developments in the pipeline on acquisitions that have not yet been announced that could be could have a significant impact on the company. So especially with the gold being higher. But what usually happens when you get a breakout in gold is sometimes the stocks don't move for a while, sometimes for a week or two, and then all of a sudden they all start breaking out like champagne corks popping, and they tend to move up very dramatically to sort of get to a whole new level basis the increase in the price of gold. And remember that the one thing about gold stocks is, you know, look, we had a bottom at 1204. We're more than $100 higher since we called that low at 3 o'clock in the morning a couple of months ago. And what is that doing to the bottom line of gold producers? It basically adds $100 net, you know, per price of gold, more than $100 net to the bottom line, because it doesn't matter what the price is, the cost of production is the same for the gold mines, but it's the price of the metal that can, and that's the reason why Royal Gold made new, which we pointed out on Friday, made new multi-year highs in the last couple of days. Because
do any of these properties have any environmental tree huggers standing in our way?
No.
I know
they're actually
a problem.
They already have,
okay.
Yeah, they already have approval and everything to go into production.
Okay.
So that's, and I believe that could happen fairly soon. So
they bought them their own tree. Okay, good.
But I just want to warn people that things could happen. Look, you just got to see these other two stocks. They're just amazing. One of them was trading at 10 cents, no volume at all, and now it's trading at 45 just in a few weeks. And another one was at 10 cents, and it ran up to 25 in 2 days, and it's sort of going through 30 today. So it just shows you how quickly things can happen, especially when you've got good things to announce. So I would think that is very, you know, something that is fairly close. You know, I think the financials were actually supposed to come out today, but guess what? The accountants live in Houston, and their office is closed.
This is Ed, our Ed. This is his backyard.
Oh, hang on a sec. I didn't see it. Just a sec. Oh, Jesus, that's something.
Yeah, he lives right off a golf course, and it was the golf course that, like he said, it came within like 4 feet of his fence line here, and now it's receded quite a bit.
Yeah. Nice place to live in the city where you don't have to be looking at other houses.
Yeah.
So
he said he was battening down the hatches yesterday. He was only on for a bit, and then he had to go put up the plywood. All that good.
Yeah.
All that's
this gold is creeping higher. It looks. I think it's going to run up to 13 and a quarter, Dwayne. Then it might pull back and test. It might not come back to 13. It might come back to 13.08 or somewhere like that. You know, this looks to very. Remember, I said when it finally gets through 13, it's going to be real strong.
Yeah.
I think we're looking at a pretty strong market here right now. And remember, it's an awful lot of people short the gold and silver, so they're starting to hurt already.
Okay. All right, so let's do a little Fibonacci math here. That was the high, because that's higher than that high. And then the retracement was
that red line
way back here. And so, yes, now let me scroll up because I can't see those. I've got a thing on my screen that you guys don't see. That's 1380, okay, which is these highs here that were put in 2016. But yeah, if we can push through this, because what we're doing right now with today's action is we're taking out this double top from April 17th and June 7th. if we can push above that, if we could hold 1316 on a pullback, we don't have. You're right. We don't have to come back and hold 1301. If we could push up and just hold, because let me draw this, guys, right across here. If we can pull back and hold, if we can hold that on a pullback, man, this thing could see 1380. It really could. I mean, it's, and I think eventually it will. You all know me, I'm long-term bullish on gold. I always will be, I suppose, unless they start mining it off these doggone asteroids. That's giving me a few sleepless nights, but anyway.
It's definitely. And look, the other thing is, we're at a point in the cycle where gold and the stock market can move up together. You know, basically when the Fed starts raising rates, that tends to happen. They started raising rates in 2004, and they raised rates like 17 times. In 2004, gold, in the March quarter of 2004, gold was 425. You know, by the time we hit the highs, the first highs, we were up around 1100, remember? In 2008. And then we had that dip. We had a sort of a mini crash. And then we had the secondary run when they started stimulating the heck out of the market to get it out of the hole of 2009. We sort of had a kind of an extra
helicopter
gift.
bin. Yeah.
Yeah, we had the 1900. So, but it's you know, if we can look at, I see the market's trying hard now to go positive. The S&P, the Nasdaq's holding up pretty well. If we can get positive on the S&P today, I think that would be important. And I think we might get a pretty decent day tomorrow, and possibly Wednesday. Wednesday is very important because the second last trading day of the month, and also the last day of the month.
Look at this price channel, John. From the top to the bottom, to the top to the bottom, to the top to the bottom, to the top to the bottom, and now we're heading for the top again.
Yeah.
That's powerful. I mean, that's on a
that's right off our that's right off our 1204 low, which was back in July, and and now we're going through up a major breakout that you've got there. Look, we're probably not going to break out of that channel just yet. Maybe we come back and test. See that 1308? Come back and test that, possibly in the next few days. Then maybe work our way up to 1360. Once we get up around 1360, if we break out above that, we could have we could break out of the upper trend channel, go up to 1400. But given what I've been saying about the dollar and the inflation factor and everything, you know, the next few months could see a serious breakout, upside breakout in gold, and I think could potentially take us up to 1600 by the end of the year, which would shock people, of course. But that's what I think is coming. I certainly think 1400 is a pretty good bet right now, but I don't think it's going to stop there. I think it's going to keep going, and if we do close sort of at the high of the year in gold, it sets us up for a very strong 18, without any doubt.
Okay, now if we go to the top of the channel and we retrace right here, we've got, when I did the Fibonacci extension, and then I just did a standard Fibonacci retracement, and you've got that yellow on the big picture. I mean, you've got that 50% retracement right there, reverse retracement, and you've got the 24. Guys, whenever you see convergence like this, where these lines come together, and look where these stopped right on top of that, and look at this consolidation right here on these two lines. Okay, now remember, I did two different things. Okay, I did Fibonacci price extensions, which gave us one set of lines, and then I just simply drew from the most recent swing low to the most recent swing high. So I took a look at the whole picture, and then I took a look at just the last leg up. And look at how this held. This is beautiful. This is what they call a textbook example. If we break out the top of this channel, when we break out the top of the channel, if we hold that thing on a pullback, man, there is just nothing in between us and 1380. Nothing that I see of imminent danger. Way over here, you know, this oddball spike. I don't know what happened on that day. Maybe it was a Fed day or something. November 9th. Was that election day? Was that election day, John? Well, okay, I won't try to hide it. It's obvious. His phone call was more important than me. I could lie and say, oh, he must have lost his connection, but yeah, I think we know what really happened. It was the bat phone, you know. And when clients with big checkbooks call, you got to answer. I don't pay him anything.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, so
What's up? That's all right. So, right here. Was this election day, November 9th, November 11th? November 9th. Let's see. Michael P., I will teach you. And Jim says, so John, in your view, we will never see 1245 in our life. Next stop, 10,000 in 5 to 7 years. So load up the boat. Where would you be wrong? Jim, your twisted sense of humor is, well, that's just Jim. What's interesting is I love the way you put words in people's mouth, but he did confirm that that was election day. Yeah, which we had a very powerful day on. So, yeah. Jim, you should try out for Saturday Night Live. I think you can make it, brother. I do. Love your humor. All right. Anything else you want to look at, John?
no, I think that's we've covered pretty much everything for the day. Oh, a couple some of these softs. The cocoa went up. The grains actually turned around the last time I looked, and are acting better. I think they might be ready for a pop. They are actually acting quite well, and the cotton also has been acting okay. The lumber didn't, you know, we sold that lumber at 381 on Friday, I think, and it's been kind of in a bit of a slump since then. So and the other thing is the currencies. Actually, the dollar is starting. The dollar might be rallying a little bit here at this 92.14 or so, 92.15. It might actually have a bit of a bounce.
After looking a little more, the trade I really like is 1335 to 1360. No, not 60. 50. 35 to 50. That's a $1,500 per contract trade. So, giving you guys a bunch of good stuff to think about. You know, you got to choose what's right for you. This is not a solicitation to buy or sell any security. You'll hear the official disclaimer at the end of the show. But here's my point. There's a world of opportunity here. And I said, how many slow, quiet days did you hear me say, guys, when I say these are the good old days? Let me say it. These are the good old days. Make hay while the sun shines. All right? Don't just stare at it and let it pass you by. But also don't attempt to do something you don't know how to do. Use aggressive risk management. Always use a hard stop. If you don't know how to do something but you see an opportunity, call Bert, call me, call Michael, All right? That's what we're here for, and we'll help you to the best of our ability. You got to remember that the brightest guy on Wall Street with the co-located server and a staff running around with tablets and big screens plastered all over the walls, on his best day, he's going to be profitable 7 out of 10 trades. And he knows that coming into the office. And do you think he gets freaked out when he gets stopped out on a trade? No. That's part of the business. It's part of what we do. You know, God, if it were easy, everybody would do it. You have to and we attract, at CFRN, we attract so many doctors and airline pilots and engineers, people who come from jobs where there is zero room for error. If you're a pilot, you got to land that plane right every time, or you won't live to tell about it. And if you do live, you won't have a job. But again, you know, the runway's always in the same place, and it's not a moving target. And when you go to take out somebody's appendix, it's always on the same side of the body. Very much a different animal with this market, and so many variables. You know, once you enter a trade, you're the only person on planet Earth who cannot affect the outcome of your trade. Every other trader in the world can affect your trade, the outcome of it, but you can't. Think about that. Also, I'm going to repeat, I'm writing about this later for Inside Futures, but until they come out with futures on Bitcoin, I probably won't be trading in it heavily, because right now you can buy one Bitcoin for $4,500 and it's worth $4,500. I can buy one S&P 500 E-mini contract for $500, okay, $500, and it's worth well over $100,000. The value of one S&P contract is the current price, which is, I'll pull it up for you. The current price of the S&P 500 is $24.42 times 50. $50 per point. Let me get my handy dandy calculator out here. Give you the exact number. 24.42 times 50. That's not right. Let me try it again. 24.42 times 50 equals $122,100. Walk into your stockbroker's office, plop down 5 crisp $100 bills on his desk, and say, "What can you get me?" And his answer is going to be, "Well, I could get you 7 shares of Gilead." "Oh, wait, you're a long-time client. I can get you 14 shares. But you're going to have to pay me for the other 7, and I'm going to charge you interest until you get me paid off." But yet you can buy $122,000 of best-of-breed equity in the S&P 500 for how much? $500. And the spread between the bid and the ask 24 hours a day is never more than 1 tick. And the London Open, 3 a.m. Eastern, guys, for those of you with day jobs, you go to bed early, you get up at 2:30, you get your shower, you get your coffee. London opens at 3 a.m. S&P, Crude, Gold, and the Euro. You get your points. You go snuggle back up to mama until the alarm clock goes off. You get up, you go to the day job, you do what you got to do. And, you know, we will never tell you to quit your day job. Never, ever. That's just not how we do business. That's a decision that you, your wife, God, and your accountant will make together when the time is right. Okay? but there are many ways to, there's 1,000 ways to skin the cat. Unfortunately, it's the same cat. So I feel sorry for the cat, but get skinning. So with Bitcoin, yes, again, it's the future, but until they create, see, the original S&P 500 contract, the big contract, it got so expensive that professional traders down on the floor couldn't even afford to buy the thing. That's why they came out with the E-mini. See, the E-mini times the large contract divided by 5. The E-mini is 1/5 the size of the original large S&P contract, and it is the most traded instrument in the world. And it's purely electronic. If you're one of our new students just learning how to trade and you've passed the test to go live, you're trading one contract, when you put your order in, your order for one contract gets just as much respect as Goldman Sachs's order for 1,000 contracts. Okay, it's FIFO, first in, first out. If you got in line ahead of him, the trader for Goldman Sachs, guess what? You get serviced first. It's a beautiful thing. So, anyway, anything else you want to cover, John? Or are we done?
No, listen, I just want to thank you for the time and the invite. And,
yeah, we had a great show today. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks very much. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Much obliged.
I do need to talk to you this afternoon. Any idea what time you might be free?
Anytime after the show is okay.
Okay.
Right.
All right,
Yeah,
very
okay.
good. Oh, and Garrett's going to join us, I think, tomorrow. So you might want to, if you can, hang out, because he said when I talked to him last week, he said, I got something really special I think you guys are going to like. So,
okay.
You know, he always has some great charts and stuff.
Yeah,
So
excellent.
Hang out,
okay, thanks.
Hang out and talk with us. All right, buddy. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, guys. The S&P we already covered by 24.46, ran up 3¼ points, and then sold 24.40, and it dropped to 24.38, and so that was exactly 2 points. Never get out at the swing high or swing low, because we trail our stop. Now, in a situation like this, and I wrote about this last night, it's on the blog. When you're taking one of these trades, okay, and all you're looking for is your 2 points, 24.40 to 24.38. As opposed to trailing your stop, you might simply have a hard target at 24.38. All right? Just get your 2 points and go. When you're trading a wide zone, like let's say you were getting in here, okay, you bought here and you're planning to go here, okay, so you're buying in at 24.40. That's 6 points of room to run, okay. So on something like this, you would put a hard target at 24.46, but you know, once this thing, you know, once you've got half your goal, and you can figure out what makes you most comfortable. Get that stop to break even, all right? This way you have no risk on the trade. In fact, get it to break even plus 1 tick. That plus 1 tick will pay for the commissions, whether you're profitable or unprofitable on the trade. You're not going to be unprofitable because you're at break even. All right? And so once you've moved that stop to break even, then you have no worries. You just sit back and watch the market. And one of two things is going to happen. Price is going to continue north as it did in this example, and it's going to give you your, what do we say this price was down here, 24.40? you just picked up 6 points. At 2 points a day on a 5-day week, we already understand that's a great living. Okay, that's 10 points for the week. There's 6 right there. Then it turns around and goes from 46 back to 38. That's another 8 points. Okay. Now, if you were too aggressive with moving your stop, you may have been stopped out. Read the chapter in Mark Douglas's book. Most of you know Mark Douglas was a good friend of mine. God, I miss him. Anyway, he talks about when you're trading multiple contracts, your original stop loss, like let's say you're buying here at 24.40 and you're going to put your stop loss at 24.37. So from 37 to 40, so you got 3, you're risking 3 points to make 6. Now if you're a multiple contract trader, what Mark suggests is that original stop, what you were willing to assume as sufficient risk on the trade, you never move it. Okay, let's say you're trading 3 contracts, so instead of moving your stop, all right, now we said that the trade had a 6-point potential in it, right? Okay, so maybe at 3 points, maybe at 2 points. If you're trading 3 contracts at 2 points, you sell one of them. Moves up another 2 points, you sell one of them. And then when it moves up another 2 points, you hit your target. And you're done. And your original stop loss, because it was an OCO, it's canceled. And always make sure when you complete a trade that you didn't somehow leave an order open. You work hard for your money, and the CME has plenty of their own money, so don't be giving it away. All right, go find some worthwhile charitable organization or church to donate it to. Do something. My pastor just sent me a text message. Good morning, Reeves. I feel like I'm in the army. Okay, I'll forgive her. They want to write a check to the orphanage, so we won't be offended. No. My son, because he's in ROTC, I hear them all call each other by the last name. If you were ever in the military, I'm sure it was the same for you. Navy, Army, Marines, it's all the same. As far as, all right, we got to get this done quick because I got a ton of work. On the Dow, here, let me give you that one more chance for the screenshot in case you didn't get it. Where'd it go? Uh-oh. Did I close it? Oh, no, there it is. Okay, if you didn't get your screenshot, grab it real quick. Oh, you know what? There's somebody on the trial, and I forgot to send you. You know who you are. I'm surprised you haven't emailed me. I forgot to email you your alerts last night. I thought I'd put you on the list. Maybe I did. Anyway, if you want to take a trial of the Concierge Trade Alerts, it costs you $1. You get them in the mail. every night for 5 consecutive days. And at the end of 5 days, then you can decide whether or not you want to become a concierge client. Okay? We even have a option that allows you to become both a CFRN partner and a Concierge Trade Alert client on an annual basis for a deeply discounted price. So if you have any questions regarding that, call 949-423-6464 or just email support@cfrn.net and say that guy on the radio said if I wanted to become a partner and a Concierge Trade Alert client and not have to pay another dime for a whole year, that I should send this email. And then they'll respond and tell you, I don't want to quote you a price, and then it's off by whatever. So just call or email, either one. If you call, Michael will answer. If he doesn't answer, leave a voicemail, and he'll call you right back. That's how it works. If you don't leave a message, we don't call back, because it could be a telemarketer. 949-42-EMINI. 949-42-EMINI. Okay. All right. You've had plenty of time to get your screenshot. So let's rip through these and call it a day. Oh, and to take the trial, just go to emini.cfrn.net. emini.cfrn.net. At the top of the page, there's a baseball player pinned up there. And in that little paragraph above or below him, it's got the link where you take the trial for $1. Now, there's no automatic rollover. At the end of 5 days, you just stop getting alerts. You have to contact us to get an actual subscription. All right. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. So the first trip down, we got 27. And then we triggered on the long side, and the market gave us 29. Then we triggered again on the short side, and the market gave us 39. Then we got back above the trigger. And this time, what's the low? 21,757. So that would be 95 minus 57. I could do it in my head, but I'm tired. I've been up since I worked until past 2 a.m. and my feet hit the floor at 5 a.m. this morning. I'm not bragging. I'm just thankful to have a job. Okay, so that one's 38 points. Okay, so that's the Dow. Sunday night Globex open. Price ran up to the zone, down to the zone. These are last week's zones. Back up to the zone, overshot it a little bit, back down to the zone, and then hit the trigger and came back down to the zone. From zone to zone, let's say you were in on this trade, okay, or this trade. I'll use the calculator again. 825. 825 minus 765 equals 60 points. So 60 points down, 60 points back up, and 60 points back down. So that's 180 points. That's just shy of $1,000 per contract. 60 times 5 is $300. $300 per contract. So 300, 600, 900. Okay. Now that's just trading zone to zone. That's not utilizing any of the other tools that you have available, like going in on the 4-tick range to pick the optimal entry point, etc. Okay. Okay. Next, soybeans. That doesn't look so good. Alright, that's the yellow arrow. I'm not going to write it. The yellow arrow always stands for Sunday night Globex open, unless otherwise noted. Now, we sent the alerts out at 19:30, 7:30. But as you can see, soybeans don't open until 8 p.m. This candle's Friday. This is last night. On the soybeans, we said to consider buying 9.49. How bring it? Let's try it again. Consider buying 9.49 if you had the opportunity. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Don't get carried. Oh yeah, 1930, 2000. Okay, so that is right. Okay. Buy 9.49. That's 9.48. That, my friends, is 9.49. And the swing high from 9.45. Oh, God. 9.49. Here, Dwayne, why don't you write it down? Then you can pretend you remembered it. All right. That's what I'm talking about. By 9.49. And we get a high of 9.50.50. That's 1.5 points. At $50 a point. Or it was a stop out. Unless you just walked away from the trade because your stop was too far away. Now, the course of action is to go look for an entry on a smaller time frame. But if on the smaller time frame you still don't find a proper entry that gives you the proper amount of risk, and no matter where you found your entry, you guys stopped out. Unless you're one of those guys who, when they get a point on the screen, they jump out of the market, you know, just to have some green. That is no way to live. Please don't do that. Okay? It's okay to push your stop up and let the market take you out, but don't run from the market. Okay? All right. All right, on the sell side of soybeans, 9.41. That looks about as dreadful. Oh, I called the cable company the other day because I had I'm on like the automatic payment where they just draft it out of your checking account, and I got a letter that said your automatic payment bounced. And I'm like, what? So I think I told you guys, somebody fraudulently used one of my credit cards to try to order some stuff online. So my bank's fraud department contacted me and they said, was that you? And I go, no, I'm sure glad you caught it. And so within 2 days they had sent me out a brand new card ready to go. And So the reason the payment bounced was because they issued me a new card, and it was tied to my old card. And so when I called them back to take care of it, I tied it to my checking account, so hopefully, you know, it wouldn't happen again. But anyway, I complained about my bill because this new package I got for the family downstairs. I have my own package upstairs. They have their package downstairs. It's supposed to be $155 a month, but the bill's $180 something. And I'm like, what's going on? She says, it's taxes. I go, well, even if we had 10% tax in Arizona, which maybe we do, that would only be like $15 in taxes. She says, well, there's special taxes on telecommunications stuff that, you know, it's not like buying groceries. And I mean, I know that because I used to have call centers, you know, so I know what it is to have a $5,000 or $10,000 phone bill, or $40,000. So I said, man, that's just, they told me $150. The guy goes, look, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about the price. He goes, you got the best deal, one of the best deals I've ever seen. He goes, but here's what I can do. He goes, you have HBO, you have Showtime. He said, you got HBO, you got Showtime, and you have, hold on for me 1 second, please. My apologies. When the Amazon man comes, the guard dogs go wild. 941, the swing low. Oh, I left John with an open mic. Sorry about that, John. 941, we got down to a swing low at 938. So that's 3 points at $50 per point. Okay. was a reason. Oh, he goes, you have HBO, Showtime, and Cinemax. I go, I have Cinemax? He goes, yeah. I go, I didn't know I had Cinemax. Because there's like 7 or 8 Cinemax channels. He goes, yeah. He goes, and what I can do is I'm going to give you stars for $1. I said, so I call to get my bill lowered and I end up paying $1 more. He goes, well, come on. He goes, I go, yeah, you're, okay, I'll take it. So, I don't know anything about it, but. Oh, on Netflix, you gotta, well, I don't know, some of you won't like this, because it's got some adult scenes in it, but it's about a mega church, a black mega church, with 4,000 congregants, and it's like a family empire kind of thing. You know, the dad, they live in this huge mansion, and they got staff, hired help, and oh my goodness, it's just, wow. Oh, and on the episode we watched last night, it's on demand on Netflix, so you can zip through 2 seasons. I felt so sorry for him last night. His jet broke down. Huh. He should hang out with Kenneth Copeland. He's got 2 jets. Yeah. But anyway, so he instructed his manservant to get him a new jet. But the inner workings of a megachurch. What a great storyline. And the money that flows through that place. Now, according to Pew Research, only something like 10% of Christians tithe. I think it's higher than that, but that's what the survey said. So, if out of 4,000 people, I'm gonna believe that 20% tithe. I'm probably crazy. All right, so you got 4,000. At 10%, that'd be 400. So you got 800 people. And let's say the average person makes $1,000 a week. So he gives $100. So 800 times 100. That's only 80,000 a week. Times 52. That's only a little over $4 million a year. I'm not sure how they built that big house and have all those cars and all that staff, but they do. Well, I know it's TV, okay? But my goodness, the backbiting, the gossip, the who's sleeping with who. And by the way, I go to church. It's not a mega church. But I know all that stuff goes on. It doesn't matter if it's a mega church or a Bible study meeting in somebody's living room. People are gonna be people. And the amazing thing is God still loves us in spite of ourselves. Hooray for God. Alright, let's get this done. Alright, yellow arrow always represents the Sunday night Globex opener. The alerts got out at 19:30. It's that red candle right there. Bonds are dangerous unless you're extremely talented or have a lot of experience. They're probably best left alone. They pay $31.25 per tick. And people look at that and they go, man, I only need 4 ticks a day to have my goal. Yeah, that's true. But I still, you know, suggest there's other things to trade, and there's nothing that exciting about them. So anyway, on bonds last night, we emailed you to consider selling 156.09. 156.09. There wasn't much meat on that bone. Oh, Lordy. $156.09. All right. Yep. Swing low. 156.05. So that's 4 points. Or 4 ticks. Now, 3 ticks, that pays $90 and change. At 4 ticks, it pays 125 bucks. A 1 point move, that's 32 ticks. So if price goes from 155 to 156, that's 32 ticks at 31.25 per tick. It's $1,000 per contract. Okay. So, the buy side on bonds was 156.27. The swing high was 156.25. So there, 150. No. Swing high was 156.26. But the level we emailed to consider buying was 27. Okay. Excellent. Muy excelente. No long trade. No long trigger. Had a long trade, just didn't have a long trigger. Okay. No long trigger. Alright. We really got to breeze through what's left here, whatever it is. Okay, come on. Alright. I know we did crude. Yeah. Sell 47.65. That's $1,000 per contract. That's $1,300 per contract. You know, that's what John said. I'm not sure. Let me make sure. $47.65 minus $47.65 minus. Oh man, what's wrong with my calculator? It doesn't have a clear all button on it. Decline that. Okay, I'm gonna try this one more time. 47.65 minus 46.23. Well, I said 14. He said 13. Calculator says, man, why can't you people leave me alone? Whoever you are. 1,000. Let me get an unlisted number. I've had the same phone number since 1996. Oh, I already told you that. I do lead a boring life, don't I? $1,420? Yeah. Okay. Now, look what's going to happen. This is on 30-minute chart, but it's the same indicator set that we use in the live training room. All right? So let's open up the slingshot. Okay. Price pulling back up to the VVC. It's going to physically touch it. Then it's going to do one or two things. possible it won't physically touch it, which is why you draw a trend line. But see, that's terrible. By the time you got to close below the trend line, that'd be way down here, and this thing's starting to curl. I wouldn't want to be any part of that. So, let's say a price comes up, touches the BVC, you get a down close, hopefully a small candle, small bodied candle, so you've got lots of room to run down to this guy, which is going to possibly be good support. Let's say you were able to get in at 46.71. If you could trade it down, that'd be about, if you could trade it from there to about there, that's $400 per contract. Per contract. Well, how many contracts will the market support? I'm so glad you asked. Pump up the volume, pump up the volume. Come on. I don't have all day. Well, I do, but then again, I don't. Man. That's outlandish. Yes, that's what happens when you have the same phone number for that many years. Okay, so in this little tiny 30-minute candle, we traded 10,235 contracts. And in this little guy that's only 30 seconds old, we've traded 115 so far. And this candle, these are 30-minute candles, 14,500, 37,878. So, if you had earned the right to sell 10 contracts, could the market handle it? Oh yeah. 20, 50, 100. Yep. And even more yep. Alright? Alright. Okay. But here's what I don't like. Okay? Spinach. No. I actually like spinach. You see how this is blue and starting to climb? And how this is starting to hook? Okay? As though this were going to come down and this were going to rise. And then all of a sudden we have bullish divergence. The CFMA1 is starting to curl. Now, just because it's starting to curl doesn't mean the trade can't happen. Look here. Okay? This was blue. And you could argue that your divergence was right. It had turned blue, but the green was above the 50-yard line and the cycle was below the 50-yard line. So you could justify the divergence was fine. I do not like selling into a blue CFMA1. I'd rather just wait for the next trade. But as you can see, this turned out to be a fine trade. paid $1,450 per contract. Well, that's what the market made available. Wherever you got out, that's up to you. Now, so the deal is patience. This is where you need patience and self-discipline. I mean, hopefully you would have gotten your points earlier today and you're already out doing life. Okay? I'm doing radio and you're doing life. Alright? So, if price stalls out here and starts to drop, be all over it until you get down to this guy, and then get your stop really, really tight. Okay? Okay. Alright. Now, Crude. NQ. Haven't looked at the NQ all day. Okay. Alright. Yellow arrow. Sunday night Globex. Open. Okay. NQ. Consider being a buyer at 58.31. 58.31. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. Alright, buy 58.31. Just turn it off. I'm sorry, guys. I usually keep it turned on during the show. I just thought it would stop sooner or later. 58.31. The first run up took us to 43.50. Okay, so from 31 to 43, that's 12 points at $20 a point. That's $240 per contract available. $240 per contract available. Okay. Price gets back below the trigger because important prices in important areas are almost always tested. Okay. Swing high is 58.56. So 56 minus 31. That's 25 times $20 per point. It's $500 per contract available. Okay, and see, you always hear me say that the least amount of risk usually produces the most amount of profit. Well, that hasn't exactly happened over here, because this was the least amount of risk, but it still produced some profit. The high was 45. I'm talking 48 minus 31 is 17. 17 times 20. $340 for a contract. Well, then why was that one 240? What was the high here? Oh, well, okay. Let's start over. High is 43 minus 31 is 8. Oh, okay. I messed that all up. 43 minus 31 is 12. Times 20 is 240. Okay. So $33. Oh, that ain't right. The high was 45. So that's 14 times 20 is 280. All right. You know what? You got a screenshot. You can fuss over it. I'm not. Because I really got to go. Okay. Did the NQ. Okay, the only thing we haven't, I know we did gold. And that thing climbed. We were at 1,570 per contract. It's gone up now to 1,317. So it's $1,600 now. Okay. And that means the only thing left is the Russell. RTYU. Okay. Sunday night Globex open. RTYU by 1378. I see somebody just put a note in the chat box. I'm going to take a look at it here in just a second before I send them. Oh boy. So the name of that show, the mega church, it's called Green Leaf. As in, that's a pretty green leaf on that tree. Yep, green leaf. Just search it on Netflix. But again, you know, there's no profanity in it, but well, not everybody spends the night with their wife, okay? So we find it interesting just because we ran a church. We own a church. We had an old historic church. We have a church in Africa with 800 congregants. Anyway, when the, weird stuff comes up, we just fast forward it. Or talk or something. All right. One final one, and it's taken me forever. 513.78. Okay. The high is 83.80. That's $250 per contract. It's a little more than that, but that's what we're going to call it for now. Okay, price gets back below the trigger. But see, right here, without going to a smaller time frame, I don't know if it jumped over here, ran up, ran back down. It could have opened here. It took a dip, took a run, so we won't even count that one. There was some positive movement, but with this one, high, $13.81.90. $78. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. It's $200. I got to figure out what this is. It says something to do with my new cryptocurrency software, which is there's nothing wrong with it. I just have to tell Malwarebytes that I know what it is and it's safe. You can do that. You can put it on the approved list. But before you put something on an approved list, make sure you know that it really is safe. Don't do it just because, you know, some guy on an internet forum said, oh, it's safe, don't worry about it. I mean, really do some due diligence. Otherwise, because you make your living with your computer. You cannot afford to have it down. Okay. And the sell side on the Russell was 1374. And I guess that got triggered over here. Huh. Imagine that. Imagine all the people. 1374 dropped to let's call it a stop out. Okay. Alright. We're done. Man, that took a long time. We didn't have any special guests. Okay, so there was a couple trades in the Russell based on the alerts. Ah, boy, this is really getting interesting here. 1301. It's almost $1,700 at this point. But it doesn't mean we're not going to get a pullback here. All right, so be ready for it. Okay. In Q, we just did 240 and 280. And on crude, gotta love it, man. Even though it's a 30-minute chart, bearish cross, price pulls away, price pulls back to physically touch, down close, sell the open to the next candle, bang. $1,400. Loving every minute of it. Loving. He trades, he sings. He travels to foreign lands. He's about to go eat some lunch. Okay, no long trigger and 4 dangerous ticks to the short side. Stay away from bonds, please. And thank you. Soybeans. Got 3 points on the south side and 1.5 points on the north side. That basically equates to a stop out. On the Dow, 27 points to the downside. Now, some might say, well, yeah, well, what about this low? Well, if you left your stop up here, if you didn't bring it down, you know, choking out the trade, then yes, you could have been in it until it started moving back up. So, what's the low? $750. 45 points. Now, if you got stopped out, if you got stopped out here, then you didn't get to participate in this. If you didn't get stopped out there, then you did. Okay? You can have one, but you can't have both. All right? Now, unless you were using that multi-contract method that Mark Douglas talks about in his book, you know, this first drop, you know, if you got off a contract, and then after this drop, you got off a second contract, and then when the thing started to close in on you, you dumped the third contract for basically what you paid for it. 29 points to the long side, 39 points to the short side. Important prices, important areas, tested once again. 38. Okay. Last but not least, the piece de resistance. That's right. Okay. So we've already got this one all figured out anyway. Oh. No, I missed part of it. By G goes. Okay, so you sell 24.40 and it gets down to 37.50. Is that right? I guess it is 37.50. So that's 2.5 points. Okay, and then price gets back above the trigger. The rules are it's got to get above by at least 1 tick. All right, the swing low was $24.36.25. So that's 3.75. Okay. Okay. Man, we are done. Now there was a question. Look at what happened to TBN. The question I asked John was very valid. You know that rather than scoff me. In 1982, when the Dow broke above 1,000 and stayed there, you know the rest. Love you, man. You or me. I have no idea what that means, Jim. I'm friends with the family house. 1982, when the Dow broke above 1,000 and stayed there. You know the rest. No, I don't know the rest. Illuminate me. I'm going to go back and look at your question. I usually don't comment on half the stuff you post in here because, well, you know why. I don't have to explain it. Okay, your statement was, so John, in your view, we will never see 1,245 in our life. He never said that. Maybe I record this show every day, Jim. In fact, we're on episode like 1,700 now. And I have every one of them recorded. So you can go later tonight to emini.cfrn.net or later this afternoon. And you can replay today's show, both audio and video. Okay? And if you find a place where he said that, then I stand corrected. Please tell me at what minute you found it, you know, because it'll, right at the bottom of the video, it'll say, it'll tell you how, it tells you how long the video is, and then it tells you what minute you're on right now. Tell me at what minute he said that we would never see 1245 in our life. Next stop, 10,000. In 5 years, 5 to 7 years, so load up the boat. Where would you be wrong? I don't know. Like I said, I guess you could ask him. He'll be here tomorrow. I wish I knew what your real point was. I really do. But you won't tell me. There's an agenda. And I've tried to be kind, but anyway, and I'll continue to be kind. You're always welcome here. John says, anytime for a quick review of the ES. Came in late. Sorry. John, I just ran through it again. Is there anything else that I can offer you or tell you? I'll be happy to. Oh, yeah, there was one error in the zones today. And John, I'll type it into your chat box. It was just one digit off, but I'll type in what it should have said. I just fat fingered it when I was typing last night. Okay. There you go. Take a look in your chat box, John. That's the one you're talking about, right? It said 46 and it should have said 45. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Just fix that, and you'll be good to go. Take out the 6, put in a 5, and you'll be awesome. All right. Okay, guys. I gotta go. I really do have a lot to do today, and I'm sure you do too. Now, if you're on the trial, you'll get an email that tells you what it takes to become a partner. It'll also tell you all the things that you have at your disposal as a partner. Okay. If you have any questions about anything, call us at 949-423-6464. If you get voicemail, leave a message. Michael or I will call you back. When you leave a message, we both get the message, okay? Even though we're on opposite sides of the country, we both get your message. One of us will call you back, all right? You can email support@cfrn.net. Even though we're both on opposite ends sides of the country, we both get your email. One of us will answer you, all right? Whatever it is. If you haven't taken the trial, go to apply.cfrn.net. Apply.cfrn.net. Spend 5 consecutive days, trading days, which means, let's say you signed up today. You would get all of this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you would get next Monday. So you'll get 5 days. So people worry, you can sign up on a Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. It doesn't matter. We're going to give you 5 days in the trading room. Now, our indicators work on the Ninja platform. They also work on the DT Pro platform. They kind of work on multi-charts, but that's still a work in progress, okay? So, if you don't have Ninja, you can take a free trial of the charts that I have up here, which are, it's called DT Pro. It's provided by Daniels Trading. It is a white label trading platform. What does that mean? Here's what it means. Gain Capital is a major clearinghouse for a lot of brokers. I know it's hundreds, it might be thousands. There's a high probability that your broker, whoever they are, clears some of their business through Gain Capital. If that's the case, that means they have tucked away somewhere a chart that looks just like this. Michael will go in and do a couple tweaks, and the indicators will run perfectly on that chart. But that's kind of a lot of work, so you could just take a trial of the DT Pro platform. It downloads in a heartbeat. And then call Burton Leslie at 866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. One of them will be more than happy. I mean, it's the whole download is designed to be seamless. If you're on the trial, the welcome email you got, it gives you instructions. It tells you what page to go to, where to find the link, how to take the, you're taking 2 trials really. You're taking a trial of our live training room, and you're taking a trial of the DT Pro platform. Now, if you were to decide that you like Burton Leslie and you wanted to open an account with Daniels Trading, Michael and I don't make any money off of that deal. That transaction nets us nothing, okay? So we're not trying to convince you to go do business with them, although I do think they are the 2 best brokers in the business. I really do. The dynamic duo of Emini brokers, or all things futures. And they're just nice people. They're like family. We've been with them. They've been with us. We've been together since 2010. They'll do anything in the world. They'll bend over backwards to help you. They'll help you get your platform up and running, help you get your indicators up and running. I mean, it's a win-win. And the beautiful part is that Bird is so familiar with our methodology and our indicator set. That's what he uses to trade with. And on Thursdays, he gives a webinar using our indicators on his platform. So who better to help you? But maybe you have a platform that you love and just can't let go of. Then I don't know what to tell you. You could lease the DT Pro platform, I suppose. Now, if you are a client of Daniel's Trading, you don't pay anything for the platform, you don't pay anything for the data. I know, hard to believe, right? It's true. When I was a TradeStation client, my monthly fees for charting and data had gotten up over $350. Yeah. And so to be at a place now where I pay nothing for the platform, I pay nothing for the data, and it's state of the art, and it does everything I needed to do, that's a good deal. So, again, if you have questions, call 949-423-6464 or email support@cfrn.net. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.